Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Star Trek Club. I'm Captain Logan. Look, it's the expendable Brandon. And, teal shirt, or, brown shirt, Adam. His shirt is brown.
It's like something Wesley would wear on a planet or something.
Yeah, except that it would be like a one-piece smock. I'm pretty sure he's probably wearing pants. He probably has two pieces. Yeah.
I'm not wearing a onesie.
You're not wearing a onesie? That's probably wearing
pants.
How do they go to the bathroom in that? I don't know.
But we have not confirmed whether or not Adam is wearing pants. See, look, he's not even going to tell us. Yeah, he's not even going to tell us if he's wearing pants. May or may not be wearing pants. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here on Star Trek Club. For some reason, the YouTube link didn't set up a show an hour ago when I set the show up. So it's only been on the channel for like 5 minutes. So I'm sorry if you were waiting around for the link to get into and start chatting in the comments with folks. But it is set up now, so hopefully folks pop in, straggling in. But welcome, everybody. We're going to go ahead and spin the wheel here in a second and figure out what our first episode for the evening is going to be. Then we're going to play a little standard replicator, and then we're going to go into our first then we're going to count down our bottom of our top 10 TNG episodes, if that makes any sense. We're going to tell you what our favorite 5 episodes of 6 through 10 are, and the next week we're going to go through our absolute favorite 5, each of us going round robin. Sarah is also going to be here a little bit later. She is dealing with our 1-year-old right now and has to put him to bed, but when that gets done, she'll be able to come in and hang out with us, and she's probably going to give us some of her favorite episodes as well. So, welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and just jump right into stuff. So here comes the almighty wheel of Star Trek. The almighty wheel of Star Trek.
Let's do it.
And we're going to spin said wheel and see what we end up with today.
Engage.
Okay, Adam, are you nervous? Here we go. Yeah, they do have those. They do have those. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we end up with. We're watching Space Seed tonight, you guys.
Oh, wow.
Sweet, we get an actual good episode. That's exciting. No, it's just there's some bad ones on there, and I was kind of worried we were gonna. No, I don't mean that we've never had a good one. I just mean there are some bad ones on there. So yeah, Jason in the comments says he can't hear Adam, but that sounds like a personal problem because I can hear him just fine. Oh, you know what? We are. Oh, you know what? It's because of. Hold on. I know what's going on. I don't have the source for you in the display setup that I just popped over to. So when we go over there, people won't be able to hear you. So I'll have to pop that in. But I'll do that later. Anyway, thanks, Jason. Thanks for letting me know. But yeah, people should be able to hear you now, Adam.
Cool.
If you can't, though, let us know. Okay, so still waiting for folks to pop in. We'll go ahead and do a little standard replicator, and you guys in the audience that are already here, please help us out a little bit. So, as always, I'm going to think of something that has to do with Star Trek. We're going to go around the room, and these guys are going to ask me a yes or no question, trying to determine what the thing is I'm thinking of. It could be anything in Star Trek. And it really could. It could be just about anything. It might even be something that Brandon has never heard of. That is it's entirely possible. Probably not. I try not to do that, but it's entirely possible because Brandon thinks of himself as a Star Trek fan, but he's only seen like 2/3 of Star Trek, so
it's true.
Not that much.
Maybe like a third.
2/5 of Star Trek.
Yeah, 2/5.
Is that true?
No, it's more than that.
Why do we have you on this show? What are you doing here?
It's more than that.
Here's the thing. Brandon's not a Star Trek fan. He's a TNG and Voyager fan. That's what it really is.
Okay, whatever.
I remember when you first came to Star Trek Club, you were like the Voyager guy. Everybody thought of you as the Voyager guy.
That's true.
And I don't anymore. I think of you as a TNG guy because there's bits of Voyager that don't stick in your memory.
Well, we were a lot closer to Voyager at that time, and I've seen a lot more. And
that's true.
While I have seen all of Voyager, somewhat recently, I've seen all of TNG even more recently, but it was further in my memory at that time when we met.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So anyway, we are going to give the audience a turn as well. So we'll go around the room. We'll start with Adam, and then we'll go to Brandon, and then we'll give the audience a turn. So you guys throw out a question for me, and based on the things they've said, don't throw anything out until you've heard Brandon's question, because you need to know where we're at and how much information we have about said thing. It's basically 20 questions, but we're not counting them, and yes or no things, just trying to figure out what it is I'm thinking of that has to do with Star Trek. And I am indeed already right now thinking of something that has to do with Star Trek. And Adam, would you like to begin for us, sir?
Sure. So I'll ask the old standard question: is it alive?
It is not alive. Brandon.
Not alive.
Is it technology?
It is technology. And we are now waiting for the audience. We don't have as many people here at the beginning as usual, so hopefully some more folks pop in. So we'll wait about 10 seconds, and if the audience has nothing, we'll just go back to Adam. Tom, Space Seed is first season TOS. Jason wants to know if it's bigger than Worf. It is indeed bigger than Worf, and we go back to Adam.
What was your question, Brandon?
Is it technology? And the answer was yes.
It is technology, and it is bigger than Worf.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger than Worf is technology. Is it in the Next Generation?
It is in the Next Generation.
Is it in multiple series?
No, it is not in multiple series. Indiana Trekker wants to know if it creates something. I mean, it can, I suppose, but I would say for the sake of relevancy, not really. Not in a way that would matter. But yeah, I mean, it can, sure. Go ahead, Adam.
So it could create something, but not normally.
Well, no, it's not necessarily relevant. You're not going to come up with it
Right.
before that. I wouldn't think too hard about that part. I guess is what I'm saying.
All right, so it's technology. It's in the Next Generation. It only is in the Next Generation.
And it's bigger than Worf.
It's bigger than Worf. Is this a Federation technology?
It is. It is Federation technology. Brandon?
Do we see it more than once?
We do not see it more than once, but I will give you that it is referenced more than once. Mm-hmm. Tom earlier asked if it's green, so I'll go ahead and give you guys that one since I'm not seeing anything from the audience right away.
We've asked that before.
We have. Yeah, yes, in our old Star Trek club that came up a lot for whatever reason. There are a lot of green things.
So is it green?
It is not. It is not green. And the Day Ghost just popped in. Hi, Day Ghost. Day Ghost just did a Terminator commentary with me a couple days ago, and he was absolutely fantastic on that. Thanks again, Austin, for being here for that. And he just wrote, "I have a top 10 TNG list. It is the 10 episodes I've seen."
By the way, Adam, I've now seen Terminator. I've now seen it.
Oh, finally!
Yeah.
Didn't you buy him the DVD?
No, I made him watch it with me in preparation for the commentary.
No, he did give it to me for a Christmas present one year.
I did 2 years ago, and he still hasn't watched it. But so when I was doing a commentary Friday, so I made him stick around with me to watch it after a show we did Thursday. So anyway, Adam, it is not green.
So they do talk about it in more than one episode. You said okay. Well, that rules out my guess that it was the barrel that crushes Worf's back.
It is not that.
They never mention it ever again.
It's not, and that's only slightly.
The barrel creates something.
No, the barrel wouldn't create anything, and also it's only slightly larger than Worf. I guess like Worf could maybe get in the barrel, but I don't know if I would call it all that much larger than Worf.
You have to pack him in a barrel after his back's broken.
Oh,
yeah.
That's violent.
So
it's really morbid.
So it's not green. It can create something.
But don't focus on that.
Don't focus on that.
I wouldn't focus too much on that.
It's Federation in origin. Let me think here. Is it used for bad things?
It is at some point used for bad things, yes.
Bad.
I would say so. If memory serves, if I can remember exactly the way this thing is used, I believe it is used at some point for a bad thing, yes. I think.
Is it does main cast interact with it?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Got quite a few questions in here. Arar. I'm not sure how to pronounce your username, so I'm just going to call you Arar. Arar, is it primarily or entirely a weapon? It has weapons. It has weapons. I'll say that, yeah.
Let me think here. It has weapons.
Yes, Day Ghost, that is the one with Khan. Mm-hmm. We're doing some Space Seed.
Let's see here. Is it part of the Enterprise?
No.
Not part of it.
It's not part of the Enterprise. And remember, it's a thing that we see once and is talked about multiple times.
Were you going with Captain's Yacht on that one? That's where my mind went.
We never see that, so can't go with that.
Oh, we didn't see it once, did we? We see it.
We saw it in Insurrection, like underneath the ship.
Insurrection,
Yeah.
that doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Okay. So,
oh, come on, you guys. Hello, Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Robot.
You said Maincast interacts with it.
Sure.
Okay. Is it only in one place?
But
on
I mean,
the
that's
ship?
not going to narrow it down that much. No. But I mean, we haven't even established that it's on a ship.
Oh,
There's some obvious questions you guys are not asking right now.
that's weird.
Somebody asked if it looks like a sausage. It does not look like a sausage, but I will also give you guys another question. Arar, can a human reasonably carry it from one deck to another? No, absolutely not. Impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah. Come on, Adam.
You know what? I'm blanking out on here. And okay, I'll ask the question: is it on the Enterprise?
No.
Is it a
Okay,
ship?
not
It is
on
a
the
ship.
Enterprise.
It is a
Is
ship.
it a ship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can create things because ships have like replicators and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
that-
yeah, they
that's
could.
broad
Yeah.
reaching.
Yeah, really broad question there. Yes, it is a ship.
Um,
Good God Almighty.
Yeah. Is it the? Okay, this is a. It.
Thanks,
Well,
Brandon.
no, it's
Adam,
Federation.
for the love of God.
I don't have a guess yet because.
Do you have a question?
Well, is it a
Well,
ship?
Oh, that was your question. I'm sorry. I knew that.
It was so
yeah.
obvious. You couldn't see the question for the question.
And Batmad, out of nowhere, name I don't recognize, don't know if I've ever seen this before, has already gotten it. Has already
What is-
nailed it. I was looking for the Stargazer.
Uh,
I was looking for the Stargazer,
Yeah.
which was at some point used as a bad
question,
thing.
which was going to be: does Kelsey Grammer captain this ship?
That would have been a big negatory. Yeah, it is not. It is not
Yeah,
the
so I guess, yeah,
Bozeman.
it is used for badness.
It is used for badness.
In the battle.
Yeah, in the battle. The most distinctly titled episode in TNG. Absolutely. Good job, Batmad. You win us saying your name a bunch of times. So congratulations to Batmad. I've now said his name 3 times. Good job, Batman. Okay, so now I've decided that that's what you win. We said your name a bunch of times. Okay, so welcome. Thanks so much for being here on Star Trek Club. All right, well, everybody seems a little draggy today. We're gonna try to kind of
It's a Monday.
it's always a Monday though. This is the most draggy this show has ever felt.
Well, you're right
It's
about
just- yeah. We always,
For a second, I thought you meant every day is a Monday.
yeah.
And I'm like, please no.
saying I got the horrible case of the Monday is like saying I got the horrible case of the Star Trek clubs. We always do this on a Monday.
Well, yeah, that's true. It used to be Thursday, Friday, alternating. I remember that back in the day.
Remember back in the day? And that was obnoxious to keep up with.
It
Sometimes
really
I would
was.
need to call someone to remind
Sometime-
myself
a couple of times
what time it was supposed to be.
I started out to Lawrence and was like, it's not today.
No, that was the worst. Adam, did we ever tell you about that? There was a point where we met every week, but it was alternating days. So some
Because
weeks it
some
was
people
Thursday,
couldn't make it.
Oh, really?
and some weeks it was Friday. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was the worst.
Was that
We've been
because
through a
Jason
lot.
had something on Mondays?
No, it was other club members.
Other people.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody, a little bit later, we're going to watch Space Seed. That's what came up on the Wheel of Star Trek, and and that is, of course, TOS Season 1. That's the Khan episode. So you can get your players rigged up so that you can watch it along with us. Right now, we're having everybody just sync with us with their Netflix or their DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever they've got, as opposed to trying to use a watch room somewhere, because we've been having an impossible time making that work with anything since Rabbit Room crashed, shut down. Not crashed, but shut down. Adam and I tried something a few weeks ago that didn't work, and so hopefully at some point there is something good that is actually reliable that we can use. I even tried something a few months ago with a 24-hour stream that just was awful and it didn't work very well. So anyway, everybody's gonna need to sync with us. It's on Netflix, so pull that up, and we'll do that in a little while, 15-20 minutes. Right now, we're gonna count down our 5 of our favorite TNG episodes. So numbers 6 through 10. Next week we'll do 5 to 1. I can't remember who suggested the idea of splitting them up, but when we did TOS, it just took us too long to get through all 10. Say it again.
I think Brandon did.
No, it was somebody in the comments. It was somebody
Okay.
live that suggested we do that, and I don't remember who it was. So anyway, because it took us too long that day, we were only able to watch one episode, and we want to try to knock out 2 a week if we can. So we're just gonna do 6 to 10 today, and we're gonna start with Brandon. Brandon, tell us one of your favorite episodes of TNG, and we'll go ahead and get this countdown underway.
We're going to go with All Good Things.
Really?
That's one of my, I really
Really?
like that one.
Have you gone back to it recently?
Not recently, no.
Okay.
But I really like that one. I'm going to count it as my 10th top 10.
Wow. I think when I was a
enjoy it, but
kid,
it's not in my top 10, but I
dislike it more and more every time I see it. Like, it's fun, but it's all novelty. That episode makes no sense. I have no idea what's going on in it.
Well, I could give you my alternate for that one.
I didn't. I mean, my opinion doesn't mean you have to
like-
change
no,
your
it's-
opinion,
it's
Brandon.
I wrote down 12, but
Well, sure. I mean, I've got
12.
runners up too, and we can do runners up when we get finished with all of them after next week.
It was so hard for me to choose just 10.
Oh no, it's
my God.
impossible. Yeah, this is probably the second or third time I've done this exercise at least, and my list is always different, just like with TOS. I always start with 20, and I count 18 or 20, and I cross a bunch off, and it gets very arbitrary. But we're doing it anyway because Adam wanted to. So Adam, what is your 10?
This is an interesting choice. My number 10 is Frame of Mind.
That is one of Sarah's favorite episodes, and I guarantee
I love
you,
that
when she
episode.
gives us
I
hers,
like-
that'll be on there.
I like Jonathan Frakes and Riker. The more I see him, the more I like him. And I think that was one of his best performances in that episode.
I remember when I was a kid there being this kind of weird reputation with a lot of Star Trek fans that Riker sucked for some reason, and that has gone
don't
like
know why Riker doesn't
completely away. Like everybody loves Riker now. Have you noticed that?
I always liked him. I never thought that.
I never did either, but I remember when I was a kid, people like ragging on Riker all the time.
Oh, weird.
Well, yeah, I think they made fun of, or they did a parody of Star Trek when Patrick Stewart hosted Saturday Night Live back in the 90s. It was like Love Boat: The Next Generation. And
Remember
they had
Love Boat:
Chris
The Next
Farley
Generation?
as number 1, and he had these 2 phasers and he'd pull out like this, and
I remember that. It was really
I
funny.
definitely see what you're talking about.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes.
My number 10, and I hated putting this as low as I put it, but my number 10 is Chain of Command.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a
Which
good one.
feels way too low. But it almost even went off my list in favor of other things. So, yeah, I don't know. That was kind of rough. But Chain of Command is one of Patrick Stewart's best performances in that. It's one of the better two-parters because it feels like it really needs to be 2 parts. But also, each episode is not a standalone episode, but gets enough done and has kind of a different flavor in each of them. You always remember Chain of Command as being, the Four Lights episode and, Picard being torched and everything. That doesn't actually happen until that second part.
Right, second part.
And that first part is all set up, but it's really good setup.
Right.
It's excellent.
And it sets up a lot of the conflict with Jellicoe and everything. Ronnie Cox is really great in that episode too.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox is amazing.
And David Warner.
And David Warner is amazing. I think it's probably my favorite David Warner performance. And you don't have the Cardassians in the same way in later DS9 without that episode. I think that kind of informs them quite a bit as well. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's excellent.
It's one
We've got
of
it
the
on the wheel.
rare
We're gonna watch that soon.
two-parter episodes where the second part whole is, good, as good or better than the first part and stuff. A lot of the time it seems like that doesn't happen a lot. With the cliffhanger,
especially in TNG. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Okay. I'm having a hard time not just sitting here like reviewing these real hard. We want to make sure and not take too long on these, so we'll go ahead and move on. I keep going like, I'm not saying enough about this. No, we gotta move on. Okay. Brandon, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Elementary, Dear Data. First Moriarty episode.
It's a good episode. I think his second episode's better, actually, but...
I like the second episode. Yeah, I think I like the second episode better. I like both of them, but I think I do like the second one.
Yeah. I definitely like where he basically, becomes Moriarty. I do like that episode, so...
Adam, what's your number 9?
Number 9 is Parallels. I just
Man,
like
I can't believe you put that on a top. I love Parallels. It's wonderful. A lot of people hate that episode. It gets vilified hard because it did the many worlds thing and the like massive multiverse thing with Star Trek.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate that it went there. But and I can understand that. I get that it irritates people that it's like, why are we following this universe as opposed to any other universe? I get that argument, but just that as its own episode, it's really fun.
It's fun. And Riker as the one that won't go back, that's always a great moment.
I feel like
the Borg Riker.
Yes, no, it's the best. That's the best scene in that, of course. And like all the Worfs walking over each other.
Right.
In the multiple dimensions
the
across the shuttlecraft. Yeah, it's fantastic. And he keeps getting like a worse place at the Bat'leth tournament, like every time he shifts. And that painting keeps turning into less interesting paintings.
Right.
Yeah, the Battle of Hirosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Battle of Hirosh.
And that's where Forcus 3 comes from. There's a lot of good trivia in that episode.
Yeah, Forcus 3.
But yeah, I think there are a bunch of different lists that you can make with TNG. It's really hard to pick, again, because it's 178 episodes. Obviously, there's a lot of there are a good number of not good ones or mediocre ones, but there's enough good. And there's a better percentage of good in TNG even than TOS. I still agree with Fry from Futurama that there's like 30 good ones. I can still kind of agree with Fry on that. And so with TNG, it would be really easy to break this down, and instead of doing 10 favorites, do like 10 most fun or 10 craziest or 10. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult to pick just a 10 favorite with TNG. My number 9 is The First Duty. Some of my picks are based solely on Picard speeches because I watch TNG for Picard speeches. Not entirely, but it's really hard not to just go, well, that had an excellent Picard speech, so it's going in there. It is the best that Wesley Crusher ever is in that show, which is saying something because he also makes a massive mistake and has to get dressed down. Like that tells you something about Wesley Crusher. He's not too bad in what is that episode where he initially leaves with that weird like water thing that they find on that planet?
The Final Mission.
Thank you, Final Mission. Yeah, he's okay in that too. Like,
I like that one
there's
too.
some okay Wesley Crusher episodes.
That's a good moment between him and Picard in that one.
Yeah, and kind of following up, interestingly, a little bit from Samaritan Snare in season 2. But anyway, but First Duty is kind of a wonderful ethical conundrum, and is a really good breakdown of just what the point of serving in Starfleet is. I think it's quintessential. And I think it's quintessential for all of Star Trek. It's kind of hard to appreciate Star Trek without that episode. It's crazy that it's as late as it is. I think it's season 4 maybe.
Right. First Duty is season 5.
Is it that late? Wow.
I think so, because Wesley leaves in season 4 halfway through.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's right. Yeah. So it's the Ensign Rowe season.
Yeah.
But David, yeah, it's the episode with not Tom Paris. Yeah, Nicholas Locarno, played by
Locarno.
Robert. Yeah, Robert Duncan McNeil. Brandon, what is your number 8, sir?
Ship in a Bottle, as a matter of fact.
Okay, you put them both on there.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
We put them both on there.
Yeah, crazy. All right, I guess Brandon really likes his holodeck episodes.
They're fun.
Is it my turn?
Ship in a Bottle's great. I'll be real surprised if that's not on Sarah's list. It didn't make mine, but I mean, I like it a lot. Did you want to say anything about it, Brandon?
It's more Moriarty, and just
So Brandon just likes Moriarty. If they had done 5 Moriarty episodes, we would be hearing about all of them this evening.
I'm not sure about that actually, because I think that they left the character in a good spot, and I think they could have really damaged him
inside that little cube on Data's desk.
Brandon thinks Moriarty should have been Vic Fontaine. They should have just moved him over to DS9 and had him sing lounge songs.
Yeah.
I think they left him in a good place, so I appreciate what they did with him, and
I agree. It would have been a mistake to bring him back after that. I'm just saying he could have maybe made an appearance or two before they set him off like that. Is all I'm saying.
Well, sure.
But I would say if he kept showing up in that show, we would be hearing Moriarty episodes from you.
It's only a paper.
Adam, what is your number 8?
Number 8.
Or wait. Did we start with
Relics.
you? Did we start with you?
No.
Or did we start with Brandon?
Started with me.
I thought we started with Brandon. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Number 8 is Relics.
Relics was a runner-up for me. I almost had that day. It was like number 11 or 12.
I had to put on that. I think that's probably James Doohan's best performance in Star Trek.
I think it absolutely is. Yeah, that's right. And
the Dyson Sphere is really cool.
It's a really creative
really
way to get a TOS character in there.
Right.
His interactions with Picard are wonderful. It's one of the better kind of lesson episodes with what Geordi has to learn through his interactions with Scotty, the kind of young appreciating the old and old appreciating the young. It's brilliant.
Right.
And they rebuilt like a quarter of the TOS bridge.
TOS bridge, right.
My number 8 is Deja Q. I think Deja Q is the best Q episode. It's really funny that he had to lose his powers to get his best episode. It's
the Calamarain.
The Calamarain. Remember that? It's one of count 2 4. No, it's one of the funniest episodes in that show. But it's also nice and poignant, and it's the only episode where Q himself really gets an arc. And I think it's really great for that. He actually weirdly is almost the Isaac In character in that episode, which shouldn't work, but does. And it gives us 10 chocolate sundaes. Brandon, what is your number 7?
So my number 7 is Emergence.
What? Yeah. Okay, Emergence is hilarious and crazy, but out of 178 episodes.
No, Emergence is the
one. No, you know about Emergence. We talked about it a couple weeks. Vertiform City. Yeah.
On the holodeck and
Vertiform City.
Yeah, the thing that.
Vertiform City.
Yeah, with that really horrible CG thing in the cargo bay.
That aside, which I thought was cool at the when I watched it when I was a kid.
I'm not saying that should have made it not make your list.
No, I'm just saying that aside.
Out of 178 episodes, how did that make your list?
Is that the episode where where Captain Picard and Data are in the holodeck?
It's where they're on the train.
Doing, like the Tempest or something like that, and the train goes right through it at the beginning. That's like the teaser. Yes.
Oh, Batman. That's a good point you're making with Picard getting angry when Q shows up at the end of Deja Q. That's a meme now. You see that all over the place with the mariachi band. Yeah, that's one of those several clips or shots from TNG that everybody knows but couldn't begin to tell you where it came from.
Right.
I like it in Deja Q too. My favorite line is where he's talking about he's having a medical emergency and he's getting. I felt like I was going to pass out. He fell asleep.
David also mentioned Richard Hurd, who passed away this last week. We probably should bring that up.
Admiral Parrish.
Yeah. Yeah. He was, I think, 86. And he just passed away, I think, a week ago.
And he was on Sequest playing another admiral.
Yeah, remember that? He was there from the beginning. And he's also in V, the miniseries.
V.
Yeah.
The old one from the 80s?
Yes. And he plays a similar character there. He's always he gets pretty typecast as administration.
I think he might have been on that William Shatner cop show in the 80s too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why can't I think of the name
I can't think of it either.
TJ Hooker.
TJ Hooker. That's
TJ
what
Hooker.
it is. Yeah, TJ Prostitute. That's how I always remember it. Okay, so whose turn is it now?
Adam's.
Yeah, Adam, go ahead and give us your 7. Yeah.
All right. Number 7 is The Wounded.
Oh yes, The Wounded. Yeah. You know what? That wasn't even a runner-up for me, but it ought to have been. It's wonderful.
I love it. That Miles O'Brien is one of my favorite Star Trek characters, and it's just a really great episode for him. It's probably his best TNG episode.
And is also insanely important and valuable, obviously, for DS9. I mean, it gives us the Cardassians in the first place, but it also kind of establishes that flavor, and, like, all of the military stuff that we do after that, and it kind of, like, Shades of Grey, not the crappy episode Shades of Grey, but, like, ethical ambiguity and stuff when it comes to... like warfare in Star Trek comes from that episode.
Benjamin Maxwell, and how he was handling the situation. Picard's speech to the Cardassians at the end and stuff.
Yeah, and Solar Dragon brings up O'Brien's speech to that Cardassian, which is wonderful. Where he says, when he's at the bar,
because of you.
Yeah, it's not you I hate, Cardassian. It's what we became because of you. Yeah, that's great. The biggest issue with the Wounded, I mean, it's really good. Is just that we'd never heard of this war that apparently has been raging for like years, and it's like we finally finished the war with the Cardassians. Like, there's a war with the Cardassians? What are you talking about? Like, I didn't know about that. We gotta retroactively introduce this species that apparently we've been at war with. It's hilarious. What was it? Setlik 3?
Another planet with a number.
And a 3. A lot of 3s. Yeah. I was confused it was Cestus.
No, Cestus 3.
Yeah.
But they play baseball.
It's a different
where the
thing.
Gorn go.
That's where the Gorn live. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, number 6. Number 6? Wait, did I not do my 7? Oh, yeah. Redemption is my number 7.
Redemption, that's good.
Redemption's probably my favorite two-parter aside from Best of Both Worlds.
Two-parter.
Yeah, it's great. And it's another one of those episodes where both parts are really good. It almost deserves the list just because of Data in Command. That whole thing is awesome.
Yes.
It's really good.
Oh my god, that guy's such an asshole.
Yeah, he is, and that dressing down that Data gives him is really good. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say he's redeemed, but he's made somewhat sympathetic by the end, just in how he kind of comes to appreciate Data's command style and sees him, as a person. You can kind of see why he doesn't trust Data, and I like the idea that people that haven't really had to work with Data before don't really understand that he's a real person. It's like, well, I get what the law is, but I've never worked with him, so I bought it there, like, as much or more than I did with Pulaski. Some people complain about it with Pulaski. I thought that kind of worked maybe even a little bit better than that did. But, obviously, it's awesome Worf stuff, and it's really good Klingon stuff, building on all the mythology they've done before. Yeah, that's true, and and that's what, I guess, introduces Sela, and then, which... ends up getting silly with unification, but her introduction is good. Like, it becomes real fanficky, but it's fine at the beginning, I would say. And then all the Gowron stuff's just great.
Right.
Oh, and obviously Tony Tan. I can't bring up Redemption without mentioning Tony Tan, which is part of the big reason that goes on the list, because of Kern. And I am the elder brother, Kern.
I am the elder brother.
Okay, now we're at 6. So, last one for the evening. Go ahead, Brandon.
Darmok,
and that will absolutely be on my wife's list. That was like number 12 or 13 on mine.
Yeah.
I ended up not putting it on there, but it hurt
Darmok
to do that.
Jalad.
I found myself wounded by not putting it on my list.
Oh, you.
So you want to talk about Darmok?
Darmok is flipping great, just because here's this premise where the words coming through the translator are unintelligible, basically. They're words, but they don't make any sense. It's this language that can't be understood by the translators. It's never been, like, the translator, it doesn't work in the translators. And Picard has to come up with this way to communicate with this. The aliens, he recognizes the fact that the aliens obviously want to communicate, so it really tests how Picard can handle a situation and really throws him into new realms. It really opens up his mind to understanding different cultures.
Yeah, he has to figure out how to communicate with the cop from Terminator. Mm-hmm. And with the captain from Wrath of God.
Captain Terrell.
Yep.
So I just think that one's great because they share a special bond, and he opens the bridge of communication for this notoriously shy species.
Are you just going to give synopses of all of your episodes, Brandon?
No.
So Solar Dragon says, Darmok is great, but it's weird that a species like that became spacefaring. I don't know about
They
that.
have to have some other way of communicating. Because like
Yeah.
through numbers or something like that. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a conceit. It breaks down somewhere, certainly.
Yeah. And then at the end when he goes, Picard and Dathan at Eladrill. So I'm like, wait, you could use proper nouns and everything the whole
Yeah,
time?
because you know he's Picard. Yeah, no,
What
it
do you
doesn't
mean?
quite work, but the episode's brilliant despite that. Solar Dragon says, how do you communicate complex technical information about starships with a language based on ancient mythology? Yeah, exactly.
You have to use like a math or something. I don't know.
Adam, what is your
Maybe
number
they
6?
use numbers like, or no, music like that species on Voyager.
Oh, yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Number 6, I put The Offspring because I'm a sap, I guess, but I like that episode.
That's one of Jason's favorite episodes. That would be on his top 10. Jason actually threw out some of his favorite episodes. We can read those here in a minute. We don't have him on camera right now just because Sarah's going to be here in a little bit, and I didn't want to try to crowd 4 people around here, so he's just watching upstairs. But yeah, The Offspring's good. I don't think it's top 10 good, but it's real. But it's good. Yeah, my number 6 is Yesterday's Enterprise. Which I could have put higher. I think Yesterday's Enterprise is great. It's one of the more fun kind of what if sort of episodes with an alternate reality that doesn't actually end up happening. A lot of fun, a lot of nice mystery in that episode, building what exactly is Guinan and what can she do, and the whole sixth sense in being able to sense that the universe is wrong is nice. Yar just suddenly showing up on the ship and not making a big deal out of it, not holding the audience's hand, is awesome. It's such a nice risk they took. And it's really good, episodic, but keeping track of the continuity kind of storytelling. They're not afraid of losing anybody. It's weird that they weren't allowed to do more archy stories like they wanted to, but they could do stuff like that. Where like a one-off episode like that, somebody comes in and is watching is going to be completely confused from the very beginning. Especially like not just because Yar shows up, but because just right in the middle of a battle, suddenly everything's different, and suddenly it's a warship, and the lighting changes completely.
Right.
And
it's a good mood piece.
It's
too.
fantastic. And it's nearly screen-worthy, like big screen-worthy.
Yeah.
I've always thought that episode is one of the more cinematic episodes of TNG.
It is.
And yeah, it's great. And that Garrett is great. Like all the new one-off characters are really good. Whenever you bring in a ship like a guest crew like that into a show, you want to feel like they could hold their own as in their own TV show, and that absolutely felt that way. Like, give Garrett a show; she totally could have done it.
They did a good job of coming up with an Enterprise in between, like the Excelsior class Enterprise
it's a neat design,
and the Galaxy class that we have.
And it's cool because it's mostly a bottle show, but it looks like it's got money. That's an episode that has like a lot of production value, and they're cutting corners everywhere they can, but it feels big.
I have a funny story about that.
Yeah.
So I saw that when I first saw that episode as a kid. I turned it on. It was on one of the local channels, reruns or whatever, and I had missed the opening.
Oh.
I was very confused on what was going on.
Did I get in the middle of a season here? Like, when was all this set up?
Everything was
but
different.
I wasn't as confused as the time I turned on a Mirror Universe Deep Space Nine episode when I was a kid.
That's hilarious.
And
I also think that episode has I also think that one has a really good sense of time travel. It just uses that really well, and you kind of buy. You go back and you change this one thing, and Butterfly Effect changes everything. But you also buy that you can kind of change it back.
But it's kind of cool though with regards to the time travel that you're not the one time traveling too.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. That you because you always you're right, because you always have these like temporal prime directive episodes that are about going back in time but not messing up everything, and we finally see what would happen if it got screwed up, and we'd never done that before.
The
so
only
that's
other
great.
time they really did it was like City on the Edge of Forever, but you kind of know Federation when they came back out of it, but you didn't really see
That's a good point. And then you had to go back and fix it. And in this, we had to send somebody else back to fix it.
Right.
Which was nice. And it was a way to get rid of the Yar they got without copping out.
Right.
Well, I guess if they didn't get rid of her, they would have just all, been stuck in that timeline anyway. So it's not even that so much. It's just the only way you can get out of this is to get rid of Yar anyway. I mean, like you either send her back, or if you do something else that will fix the timeline, she's going to disappear anyway. So like they came up with a way to bring her back without having to contrive a way to get rid of her. So that's kind of neat too, and that's her best episode.
Right.
Some of Jason's favorite episodes are Darmok and The Game. I don't know why, but Jason loves The Game. He put in The Offspring. He says Power Play. I've never loved Power Play, but I know a lot of people are big fans of that episode, including Plinkett.
Which one was Power Play again?
This Troy and a bunch of people get possessed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I have been trapped on this planet for 150 years.
And then he says all the Q episodes. Jason just likes Q. Just all of them.
That's funny. They all tied.
Yeah, David, I'm with you. The cinematography and lighting for Yesterday's Enterprise is fantastic. And I've always thought that that's where that show finally really finds its footing. Yesterday's Enterprise is the thing they had to make for that show to turn into what it turned into. I've always thought that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our that's 6 or 5 rather of our favorite TNG episodes. We're gonna do our absolute top 5 next time, and now we're gonna go ahead and get into our first episode for the week, and we're going to watch Space Seed, because we are at the mercy of the almighty Wheel of Star Trek. Now, as I mention every week, if you are so inclined, you can leave a super chat and put an episode of your choice on the wheel. That will entitle you to do that. You don't have to leave a super chat just with your episode choice, though. You can also ask a question or make some kind of a comment with it as well. Feel free to do that, and then that will entitle you to an episode putting on the wheel. And you guys help remind me to take this episode off the wheel, because I keep forgetting to do that. So I've just got to set mine up real quick. Oh, how convenient. Spacey is just the next one set up in my Netflix
That's
for
how
some
it was
reason.
on mine. I don't know why.
Weird.
It
Did
knows.
Netflix hear us?
Netflix knows. Oh my God. And we're reaching the singularity of the internet. Oh my God. It's happening. It's finally happening.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think
the evidence is clear.
No, it's not at all, actually. Adam, the last episode you and I both watched was Return of the Archons, and Space Seed is the episode right after Return of the Archons. That's why that happened. We watched that together the week before we started Star Trek Club, I think.
Yeah.
I do believe. Okay, everybody, jump into Space Seed. It's episode 23 of the first season of TOS. You can find it on Netflix, but pull it out any way that you want to watch it. Make sure and get it to timestamp 0. And, of course, it goes without saying, we're watching the remastered version. And so if you watch on a DVD that is the older version, you're not going to be able to sync up with this as well, because usually there is, like, a frame or 2 or 3 that's added, or bits of scenes that make these a little bit longer than the TV airing, or the regular TV airing. David just put Sub Rosa on the wheel. I don't know why he did that to me. Now we gotta watch Do Not Light the Candle.
Oh.
So that's unfortunate, but that is now on the wheel.
Best get it out
That
of the way.
episode doesn't bother me as much as there's some other episodes on TNG that that bother me definitely more than that one.
Yeah,
It's
but
definitely
couldn't
not my favorite, but
Couldn't we have given her
can live
something
with it.
better?
I can live with it.
I mean, it's not. It's. Are you Cisco now? I can live with it.
I can live with it.
Okay, guys, I hate to do this, but Sarah's having some difficulties upstairs. I'm going to run up for just a minute and then come back and we'll watch Space Seed. So can you guys hold down the fort? And if folks want to... Yeah, what's up?
I need to take a minute break here, too. I need to to the
Oh no!
Oh,
You're
okay,
leaving
cool.
me in
Yeah,
charge.
we're gonna leave you, Brandon.
Oh, no.
So we're gonna
All right,
take
Brandon.
we're gonna take a quick break. Brandon will be here to chat with you guys for a minute if you want to, or if you need to take a break too, Brandon. We can just all get up for a minute and just leave this blank, whatever you want to do.
Well, I mean, I could sit here, or I could honestly take a break, but it doesn't matter to me. If somebody wants to ask me a question, I'm down.
Okay, Brandon's gonna sit around and hang out with you
Brandon,
guys
do you
for just a
wanna
minute.
talk to my dog?
Is your dog on the bridge of the Enterprise?
She's over there. Hang on.
You're moving, but it's like when the bridge shakes on the Enterprise and everybody's woo.
That was amazing.
That was great.
Solar Dragon, let me see if Masks is currently on the list. I don't believe so. No, Masks is not on the list. So if you want to add that, you're welcome to.
Oh, we watched that recently ourselves.
Well,
his dog.
Is that 10 forward?
10 forward.
Okay, guys, I will be right back. I'm going to go upstairs for a minute, and I'm going to, Adam and I are both going to take a break. We'll be right back for Space Seed.
Space Seed. I have not seen this one for a while, and I've seen it only twice. It grows on me. Ooh, yeah. I've never been a huge into the books, but I read the Preserver series. I think that was what ghostwritten by William Shatner, or somebody ghostwrote it for him, and that was pretty good. I'd like to get into some more, like extended stuff for Star Trek. There's so much of it out there. Make it so. We've been doing Star Trek Club for a long time. We've had a few years off, but we used to meet every week like we were talking about earlier. And that was always so much fun. And it would be kind of not everybody could make it all the time, so it'd be kind of a different group of people every week to week. I tried to make it as much as possible, but Sarah used to do a Klingon language lesson of the week too, since she's big into language and she knows a lot of Klingon. And we had this giant easel with a big paper, big sheets of paper that you could fold over that Sarah would do the stuff on, and it was really a lot of fun. Sometimes I miss some of these segments. It'd be cool if we did that once or twice around here on this show. And then we'd all get to... We have so many inside jokes from that segment, too. Like, the captain needs water. Big Dep is fish, I think. And, it translates to water creature. Kapla, success. We'd get to use it in a sentence, and we came up with some great ones over the years. I think I hear the captain returning. He has returned.
Brandon, you had Bik Nechod.
Yes.
Which is the captain wants water.
Yes.
And you're conflating it with Bik Dep, which means fish by itself.
Yes, fish.
Because
I did remember fish.
One of those words means water, and the other one means creature. So you get water creature becomes fish. Yeah, that was that whole thing. Probably sounds like I know Klingon fluently. I don't. That's just a word that I know because it came up in Star Trek Club all the time. And my wife used to do Klingon language lessons for us.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard that last part.
No, I said it would be fun if we did that once or twice on the show again. I was telling him how we used to come up with sentences and we had a lot of inside jokes, like the captain needs water.
Yep.
And
yeah, it would be cool to bring that back in some capacity. Okay, we're going to need to get Sarah in here. She's coming down, so would you help me out with that?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
What do you need me to do?
Sometime of
just
our
bring over
top
that chair.
10.
I'm sorry, what's that?
We should do a list of our top 10 favorite Star Trek animals, like weird creatures that are in non-sentient.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd end up just writing down the 10 you thought of, right?
Well, I've got some.
Could you do more than 10?
I want to bring in what about the lapwing? Nobody ever brings
what
up
the
the
hell is
lapwing.
that? I don't remember that.
That's the thing from the Most Toys. It's like.
Oh yes, the Most Toys.
The Most Toys, Kivas Faggio.
Kivas Faggio.
I love that guy.
What is it, Corvin Gelvos? The thing that Alexander rescued.
Man, that's all stuff that I forgot all about. I don't know if that's gonna stretch. Yeah.
And of course, things that don't even have names, like the dog with the horns.
Siri, in the future, it may work out better if you just take one of the tablets and come in remotely. so that we don't have to try to like fit 3 people in here. Because I don't know if you're even gonna be able to see the screen very well.
I thought Sarah was wearing those headphones they used to use for the hearing test in elementary school at first. You know those blue ones?
Yeah.
And I have to raise my hand every once in a while.
Raise your hand.
And then it would get stuck in your head, so you wouldn't be totally sure if you were actually hearing it or if it was just your brain ringing.
Your brain. Yeah.
Did you ever do that? Where like when I remember the first time I did that, I was like 5 or 6, and I distinctly remember just sitting there going like this constantly, like,
Yeah.
It's beeped one time, kid.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
That's
always
how it
really
is
good
with
at
that
those.
peripheral vision test at the eye doctor with the little squiggly line. The same
no,
way.
Rockman, we're not watching Captain Picard Day. We were just doing a countdown of favorite TNG episodes, so that's why I put in that screenshot. Sarah, did you want to talk about some of your favorite TNG episodes? Or did you get a chance to write any
I
down?
have 0 written down,
Okay.
so
Do you want to just wait and do it next time?
probably.
Okay. Or do you want to just name a few right now?
I've got 0.
Because well, there were several things that came up on people's list that I knew would probably be on yours.
Oh, okay.
So Darmok came up,
Yeah, that's a great one.
so that would almost certainly be on yours.
Yep.
It has before. I think you and I did a list years ago on
Yeah.
our old show.
We certainly, I think we did top 20 even, or something like that.
Was it that many? Maybe
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah. Sarah and I. Well, and I think we made it together. I don't think it was like a personal list back and forth.
Yeah,
I think maybe
maybe
we just
right.
made one big list. I can't remember. For those of you that are newer, Sarah and I did a show years ago called Ask the Trek Spirits, which was horribly pretentious of us, but that's what we called the show. And we did probably 100-something episodes of that show. And then I did Treknado with these guys for a while, and now we're doing a live Star Trek Club with all of us as often as we can. Tom just put in a $5 super chat. Blink of an eye, Star Trek Voyager. It inspired an Orville episode. So excited that it is Monday. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, buddy. So we'll put that on the list. Blink of an eye is a great episode. It's one of the
Not
better.
Wink, yeah,
Oh,
not Wink of an
I'm
Eye.
thinking no. I'm thinking Wink of an Eye. Wait. Which one is which? No,
No,
Blink of
you're
an Eye.
right, Blink of
It
an
is the
Eye.
one I'm thinking of, right? With
right.
the Romulan. No, Eye of the Needle is what I'm thinking of. What is Blink of an Eye? I don't
Blink
remember.
of an Eye, isn't it the episode of Voyager?
Blink of an Eye is
that-
the one
where
with the Voyager planet
goes
where
really
everybody
fast?
moves real fast.
Okay, I like that one a lot, but the thing with the Doctor makes no freaking sense.
He goes down there.
He goes down there and has a family, and they just don't explain
Yeah.
how he's able to do that. He's just like, somehow we got my technology so that I can have children. I don't know how that works, but apparently it does.
And then the Wink of an Eye is the episode in TOS when Kirk gets sped up real fast by those aliens that are like moving real fast. It's a season 3 episode.
And then what was the Riker episode that you put on your list?
Oh,
I just can't think of the name of it right now.
Frame of Mind.
Frame of Mind would be on Sarah's
Yeah.
list.
Then there's
That one.
Mind's Eye.
Yeah, with the spoon that's supposed to be a communicator. Okay, let's go ahead and watch Space Seed. Is everybody ready? Get it to timestamp 0 and get ready to press play when I say now. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Burr, burr, burr.
Classic shot.
Yes. This is where was this on my list last week? Or last time I heard
It was on both of our lists, was it not?
6. It was on both of ours.
I think I had it maybe higher than you, or maybe it was lower. I don't remember.
I think you had it higher. You had it higher. Botany Bay. I always thought the Botany Bay was really cool looking.
Botany Bay. Botany Bay.
Bay.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no!
Mr. Roboto says hi to Sarah.
Oh.
That
David
was
says
rude.
he's excited to see a young Benedict Cumberbatch in this episode. No.
Start. Don't even start.
Dun 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 dun.
Da-da.
The DY500 class. Would you have been able to come up
Nope.
with that?
But he says it's DY.
No, it's the UI
100.
100. In fact, Kirk was incorrect.
So I don't understand.
He
I
says
used to know
similar
that.
to the
In this
DY500.
episode, after Khan takes over, they leave the Botany Bay behind. Then how did the seatbelt get down on the planet in Wrath of Khan? I don't know.
Yeah, how'd they get pieces of? Were they
I don't
allowed
know.
to
Did they
take pieces
part
of it with them when he put them on the planet?
I guess they took part of it. Yeah, I don't know.
But then, does the ship stay here this whole episode, or does it fly away with Khan on it?
So they're towing it
Oh, they
then
tow it. That's right. I couldn't remember.
at the end they discard, or then
I like
when
this
they
crane
take over,
shot.
they discard it. And then at the end, you don't really see what happens. Like they find them SETI Alpha 5 or whatever and put him down on it.
SETI Alpha
but it's all
6.
off screen.
I remember this being one of the better remasters.
That
Yeah,
looked
it's really
really
good. They did a really
freaking
great job on that, on the Botany Bay.
And like with a lot of stuff, I mean, we're a broken record, but like with most things with the remasters, it's really faithful to what they did in the first place, and the shots are all the same, but it's more detailed, and it looks like it's really there.
Right.
Or looks less like a model. I mean, that model, you know, did look like it was there because it was a model, but, you know.
Right. They reused the Botany Bay model or a shot of it, probably just the same shot, for the Woden freighter from the Ultimate Computer. And then in the remaster, they replaced it with the Antares freighter that they actually designed. They came up with the design from the animated series.
Oh, that's cool.
Ship.
Now, see, that's the kind of change I don't mind. Because it shouldn't look exactly like this. It's
Because
not a
it shouldn't look
DY
exactly
100
like it.
ship
That
from
was a limitation of
1996.
budget. Right.
Yeah. Sarah, this is a top 10 episode for you, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Enter McCoy.
And Monauban, thanks, Brandon. I'm sorry, what, Adam?
Why did they go red alert for this derelict ship?
I don't know.
I think it was
I would
because
think
Spock speculated aliens, possibly.
He didn't say that, though.
But he did. He goes,
did he?
it could be aliens using this ship.
It's still weird that you go to red alert. Because you don't usually, even with a ship that's functioning, you don't usually go to red alert unless weapons are turned on. And now for exposition.
Yes.
Okay, so, for folks that don't know about what the eugenics wars were originally, before Abrams got his hands on it, it's, well, and to be fair, other people in later Star Trek, it's selective breeding before it's genetic engineering. These are different things. But we actually retcon it within the canon. The whole Enterprise thing with augments doesn't work if it's just selective breeding. That requires genetically engineered embryos.
Right, and they in Wrath of Khan, Chekhov says a product of late 20th century genetic engineering. So it was really only
already altered.
And I mean, you could really just read it as just I guess a different way of saying genetic engineering rather than pairing people up.
That's fair.
If you were going to give it a a lenient read. I don't know what this lady's job is beyond paint things.
She's quite the artist. She's a sculptor too.
No, I think it comes out and tells us, Adam. I thought she was
she's like
a historian.
Historian.
Yeah, no, she's a historian, and that's why she's brought into this to deal with Khan, because she knows about the eugenics wars. Yeah,
I just don't know.
Where's that historian?
But why would they have? Would this happen a lot? I guess it might. They might find stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't need to use her all that often. No, I'm with you. I wouldn't think you would need a historian on board, and because you'd get lucky anytime you'd actually run into anything Earth-based. I mean, like, maybe she must be a historian of a lot of other cultures for that to make any sense at all. I guess I could kind of see that.
Right.
I like these stasis beds.
But I would think, like,
job.
social studies before I'd think history. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'd think past and present. Like,
anthropology.
Ooh, atomic power.
Yeah, I mean, David, that's right. And, of course, we all know that it's kind of an oversight in Wrath of Khan where Chekhov recognizes Khan and they act like he was here, but he wasn't actually here. But he says, well, Chekhov could just be making a mistake when he says genetic engineering because he wasn't even there.
They just mentioned a year, 2 years prior to us.
Yeah.
you know, we talk about how in what is that Voyager episode, Future's End, when they go back to 1996 and they don't really talk about the eugenics wars a lot.
Right.
And like, I mean, I can see why that's annoying, but I also see like there was like a lot of wars going on in the real life 90s that Americans didn't pay very much attention to, like in Africa and
it
things
still
like
doesn't
that.
work though, man, because Khan had taken over single-handedly, like, what was it, a third of the world or 2/3 of the world? Like,
They
we
said a
didn't.
fourth of it, yeah.
No, it was more than that. It was at least a third, we're told, and I just can't remember if it's even more than that. But like, Adam, that makes the world look a lot different than just there's
True.
random wars all over the world. Like I just don't think that LA in 1996 or whatever would look the same if the eugenics wars were happening. And when you get to the Augment arc and Enterprise, they just take creative license and never mention a date because they want to act like it was maybe not that time period, especially so that they can do stupid Carpenter Street
Right.
later, and not even have any mention of any of the stuff that was going on then in Star Trek canon.
Right.
So yeah, no, we try to have our cake and eat it too with this all the time with Star Trek, where we have a timeline, but we like to ignore it when it suits our needs.
True.
And Future's End also is kind of bad anyway. Like, it's not very,
Yeah,
it's not a very thoughtful episode in the first place. It's kind of a cartoon. We just watched it again recently.
Yeah, it was terrible. I can't stand that episode.
It's one of those episodes that, like, if you saw it when you were a kid, you might remember it as being cool because it feels like a big event. I had that problem a lot with Star Trek, where, like, the big event episodes I remember as being great just because they're events. And then I go back and watch them, and then I'm like, some of these don't make any sense. That is actually related to our discussion topic that we'll do briefly right after this episode.
Oh.
So when they find this ship in Next Generation that's got the sleepers on it, the people who were put there after they died, and they revive
In the
them.
neutral zone.
Yeah, and then they revive them. Like, isn't there something that like specifically states like don't touch these people until we?
You think after this there'd be protocol
right?
for it.
Exactly. Like
The
what's
difference with them is they were actually dead.
yeah,
as opposed to these people
they
who were
brought
just
them
when they just
back.
froze their
And that was
bodies.
Crusher's
They were
fault.
actually
Yeah.
dead, cryogenically frozen.
At least
dead.
Crusher's consistent. She does that kind of thing all the time.
Yeah.
So let's beam this Borg back from this planet. What could possibly go wrong?
She has such a duty to the Hippocratic Oath to save everybody.
Khan looks like he just got fished out of the ocean.
He does.
in
Doesn't
this
he?
big
Yeah,
net.
so weird. The netting
Like
is
Aquaman.
interesting.
He's Aquaman.
Yeah. This is another one of those episodes that feels really grand in scope,
Oh, that
partly
was
just
cool.
because of the of the story we're telling, and
Right.
it's mostly a bottle show.
That looks great.
It does.
And we'll do some things where we try to make Khan look, supernaturally strong by crushing things that are actually just made out of cardboard. That will happen. I think Marlo MacGyver's might have one of the coolest and most intricate hairstyles in TOS.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about ladies in TOS and not talk about hairstyles. I like hers a lot.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. The 1990s.
He's talking about it in the past tense when it's still 30 years in his future.
Yeah. So there's a book. I can't remember who wrote it. Did you ever read those Eugenics Wars?
Yeah, we've talked about him some before. It was names on the tip of my tongue. I'll look it up here in a minute. Was it Garfield Stevens or was it somebody
wasn't
else? I
them.
forget. Was it not?
Someone else. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't remember
And
right off.
he tried to do it. He tried to like blend it with like real historical events and stuff. It was kind of successful. I don't know, where he made like a lot of like warlords and like unrelated conflicts throughout the world in the 90s. All technically.
Oh, it was
like,
Greg
related
Cox,
to-
who's usually terrible. I don't like Greg Cox as a writer generally. But yeah, I remember thinking those were okay. I don't remember much about them. Yeah, and it also tied into Gary 7. You remember that?
Yes, it had that Roberta Lincoln was like one of the people running around in it.
Yeah, they did like a whole time travel thing with it.
Yeah.
But I remember the third one, which was kind of a gap filler. It was called To Reign in Hell. It was a gap filler
Right,
between
and I never
Vis
read
and
that
Wrath of Khan.
one.
It's really good. That one I liked a lot. And
But I did
I'm
see a
assuming Koch
comic
wrote
of
that
that
too.
from
But
IDW that was like that. I wonder if it was they were like it was just an adaptation because I saw a comic. I'm pretty sure called that of
I'd have to look that up. The only
basically.
Khan comic I know about from IDW is Abrams' verse.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I read that. I don't remember when it came out. And he kept saying it was really exciting. He's like, Kirk will come back. He will not forget us. He will come back.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about that. No, you're right. IDW did a book called Ruling in Hell
Ruling in hell.
that
Was
may
it-
have been
was
based
it
on that.
based off the yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm looking. I'd never heard of this. The trade was in 2011, but I don't know if it actually came out well before that or not.
Yeah, because I read the first two of those books, but I don't think I ever got around to the third one.
Oh, that's some foreshadowing.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a different interpretation of that period or if it's what Cox did. I have to look a little bit
Right.
farther into it. It might be one of those things where we've gone back a few times with different writers and tried that just like a follow-up to Mirror Mirror, because there's a lot
Right.
of different authors that have given us different stories
Interpretations,
trying different things with that. What exactly happens when Mirror Spock moves on from
Right.
the end of that episode?
Right, they
after
did
the
one of those
Kirk
Star
speech.
Trek Continues episodes like that, didn't they?
Yes, that was one of them.
Yeah.
And then there's a good photo novel comic that does it from a few years ago
Oh.
that I think actually does it a little bit better, if memory serves. I liked one of those better than the other, but I can't remember. YouTube Randoms says hello from Pakistan. Hello. Greetings.
Whoa.
That is a name I don't recognize. Thanks for
Cool.
being here. Yanni and our tracker says that was a pretty good miniseries. It picked up where Space Seed left off. Yeah, I'll have to check and see if that's based on Cox or not. TOS with its very distinctive pillows.
Yes. Both TOS and Next Generation have crazy bedding. I don't understand like why anybody would want to sleep on it. It's like sequins. He's doing like Tai Chi.
Immediately he gets out, he starts doing his yoga exercises. Yeah.
Doing his yoga, yeah.
Ricard Monomon's like, oh my god, it's the voice of God.
I don't know why he has this crazy display of old.
Old medical instruments.
Is it like it's probably McCoy's like to remind me where I came from and
Yeah.
never go back to it again or something.
I want to think he's the only person in Starfleet that has that. That's a really good point.
Like random skulls in those cabinets too. I don't know what that's all about either. The knife at your doctor's throat.
Yeah, this is one of the most classic scenes in this whole show. I just love how bold McCoy is there. It's fantastic.
Yes.
And McCoy's pretty consistent throughout the series. If he gets threatened, this is how he handles it.
Like he, almost as if he knows he didn't believe he was a doctor or something like that.
I mean, I don't know that Khan would be questioning that, Brandon. I think it's just like he said, just impressive that he's being bold.
Well, true to that too.
Well, really more like 2.5 centuries. But they always round it down for some reason. I don't know why.
Easier, maybe.
Yeah, Khan doesn't have to be good at math. When you're thought of as a genius, somebody questions your math either. Everybody after that would just say 2 centuries until they actually thought about it. Wait a minute, Khan, that's not 2 centuries. But you're a genius, so I didn't question you.
Yes.
So we've had, I guess, maybe a couple of human villains prior to this already, Adam, or have we already had like quite a few? Because I always forget what episodes are in what season with TOS. Just
Well,
as I'm
sorry,
watching
what was
stuff.
that? I was not hearing.
Have we already had quite a few human villains?
Human villains. I mean, they had Harry Mudd already to this point.
Have we had any like bad captains yet? Because I don't even think we've done a lot of Earth-like planets at this point.
We haven't had Decker or the guy from Omega Glory
Or the guy from the Nazi
anybody.
planet.
That's all season 2. What's that?
Or the guy from the Nazi planet.
Nazi Planet season 2. I don't think we've had very many. Okay, Ben Finney, maybe.
Yeah,
At this point,
that's
we
true.
had him.
Okay, so we always make fun of Darkness, and I don't want to talk too much about that, for having Khan just come out and go, "My name is Khan," and just make a big deal out of it, and like everybody's supposed to stop and be an on, be like, "Ooh, his name is Khan." And I think in the past I have complained that he would expect anybody to know what that means, and that he doesn't say his full name. But I had forgotten that Khan in this scene doesn't do that same thing, where he doesn't, everything doesn't stop. But he's like, because it's so silly the way that's played. But he does just say Khan. He won't say his full name. But
Right, and they have to do research
exactly
to figure out who he really is.
In Darkness, he says it almost like he's expecting it to elicit a response. And when Khan here says it, I think it's supposed to be because he doesn't want anybody yet to know that he's seeing. Yeah. If he says his full name, he figures, and of course, he's an egomaniac, and sees himself as a great man. He's going to assume that he's in the history books, and everybody's going to know that name.
Yeah.
So it's still silly and kind of stupid in Darkness, but maybe for somewhat different reasons than things I've said in the past.
Yeah.
He offered him, the technical specs of the Enterprise. Just, they're available to anybody in bed in the sick bay if you know how to use a computer. Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would think certain things would be like just schematics of how to get around the shit.
And that's
but
Gary Mitchell does, and
yes.
Or No Man Gone's before.
That's true. At least consistent. We've already done that.
But there would be proprietary stuff, that you wouldn't want out there just because.
Brandon, we've already established how lax the computer security is on Star Trek.
Yeah.
You could make the argument that it's because humans are too trusting, so they have security, but they also, in having utopia and not having a lot of crime and stuff, kind of forget that it's possible for people to be bad and do bad things.
I'll give
TOS
so more of a pass because this was in the days before like computer hackers and viruses and all that stuff,
Yeah.
It's also in the days when people in real life didn't feel the need to lock their doors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's that to consider. Now, this is something of a military vessel, so I would still think your security wouldn't be as lax as like your house. But I'm just saying the sensibilities of the time maybe lead to that.
Right.
I've memorized everything about the ship. Everyone should be terrified.
People.
Sorry, what?
I memorized all 500 people. Starships.
The soft lighting.
But yeah, it's TOS fuzzy footage.
Yeah.
Whenever you got a
no,
pretty
it's-
lady, you gotta have fuzzy footage.
You just gotta light up her face. Just
And then they do a real close up of like people too. But they'll do one of Khan here in a moment.
Solar Dragon says Khan Singh is such a strange name. Yeah, but it's an Indian name.
Yeah.
oh, he's
Like, I don't know where
maybe-
Khan comes from, but Singh sounds like a real common kind of Indian
Thing
name.
is yeah, he's supposed to be a Sikh. She mentions it at one point here.
So he asks her why she wears her hair in such an unattractive fashion, but I think his hair is pretty unattractive. It's
You
kind of
just
got
don't.
a.
You just don't appreciate other cultures, Brandon.
He's got an Oompa Loompa do.
That's racist against Oompa
I guess
Loompas.
Oompa Loompas.
He's getting creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. This is one of those, the sensibilities of the time were different. But even with that, you would still kind of expect her to maybe not let him go as far as he does in these
No,
scenes.
he can totally tell that she's into him, though.
Yeah,
He's taking advantage of that.
Yeah, he's definitely playing to that shortcoming of her character in this instance.
Well, and to be fair, the same thing happens with Apollo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that leather
And
lady
who mourns for Adonis.
who's also
Were then-
anthropo.
Where then
What's
Kirk
that?
tells her to spurn him and she doesn't want to.
Look at that.
Did you
but
see
I don't
the
wanna hurt
stars
him.
in her eyes?
Yeah,
Look
like
at the
the stars.
stars.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
It's actually really cool lighting.
That
There's
was.
a classic TOS meal of weird.
Who's this guy
fruit
Uhura
and
is talking
celery.
to? Uhura seems really friendly with this random, lieutenant guy? Or
This is
ensign?
dating.
Yeah, maybe they're dating.
Can I make mention of the fact
Look at that. Look
I
at
think a
that
lot
thing
of
on the
the-
background.
I think
It
a lot of
looks like
characters
a
in this show could be
Windows
randomly
95
dating people you'd never
screensaver.
know about it. Sorry, what, Adam?
Look at that art on the wall. It looks like a Windows 95 screensaver.
Sorry, Brandon.
So
what were you saying?
not only are we watching this remastered, but we have the ability to watch this like 10 times larger than anyone could have watched it originally. Like, we're watching it on this big giant screen. It just looks fabulous. Even the stuff that's not totally
Yeah,
redone.
most of the people would have watched this in black and white
Yeah, and on a tiny screen.
on a tiny screen
That's a good thing
with
to keep
a
in mind, too.
aerial
is that
antenna at
you know,
best.
this show, just like 60s Batman, and I made this point before, it has primary colors, and it's really super vibrant, and it wants to do that for people that have color TVs and to try to sell color TVs. It's one of the first
Right.
shows to really pay a lot of attention to its color.
Oh, there's a picture of Napoleon. After they mentioned Napoleons.
Bald men.
And also a picture of some kind of a creature that looks like it should be in, like, a video game. In, like, a God of War game or something. Cinematographic, what do you mean when you ask if the aspect ratio is different? Different from what?
It's a 4:3. The age difference isn't much for her. Like,
Yeah, it's really funny. Now,
he's
I don't
really
know
robbing
how...
the cradle here.
I mean, well, you say that. I don't know how old Khan is supposed to be, though.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, physically he's a younger specimen,
Yeah.
but logistically he's 237
Oh.
years old.
Yeah.
I
you
see
know?
what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, I never think about that. When you're frozen or you come forward in time or whatever,
Right.
like, I
It's
never...
not his biological age.
No, I know, I understand that, but at the
Well, I guess
same time,
technically it
like,
is.
you
Well, I know, but I would never. But I'm just saying, I would never think of that. Like,
Yeah.
it
Is
would.
that
It would
frozen
be
ice
like.
on the table.
It would be
Is
like
that
if somebody
ice cold?
dated Steve Rogers and you go, "You're 85 years old." Like, you wouldn't
Yeah.
think. You wouldn't think of that.
right, no, exactly.
Right. Great
So,
dream.
so Montalban as a guest star feels like a star. Like, he feels like he ought to have his own TV show, and he goes.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean as this character. I just mean like he's in the same league as Shatner, or even maybe a little bit above that as an actor. And they go toe to toe so well in this because of that. Like, he's, it goes without saying, but I guess it bears repeating that he's one of the best guest stars in this show. and that he feels acting ability-wise compared to some other guest stars almost too good for this material.
Right.
And so he really
he already
elevates it.
had an established career in movies, even going back to the 40s and stuff.
Well, to be fair, Shatner was really established too, but he was mostly doing TV by the time he got this, yeah. And he and Nimoy had both been character actors.
Right. I think one of the earliest Shatner things I've seen him in was when he was Spencer Tracy's aide in Judgment at Nuremberg.
Yeah, cinematographic. I didn't think the aspect ratio was different for the remasters than the originals, but maybe it is.
Yeah, it's the 4x3.
I mean, it's 4x3. I don't know if it's changed any beyond that, but it's not. You can't widescreen
sometimes,
this.
I don't know who was doing it, but somebody was showing this, and they would show the effect shots in 16:9 and everything else in 4x3, and it was weird.
God, I hate that. I've seen things that do that. It's really irritating. You just change the aspect ratio because, well, the new stuff is all digital, so you can. Don't go back and forth like that.
Right.
I've seen IMAX movies like that, where like the aspect ratio changes to IMAX ratio in certain places.
Well, that's how that Dunkirk movie that Christopher Nolan did. Was he had so many different Well,
I was gonna say I thought Dark Knight was that way too when you saw it in IMAX. That was the first one that came to mind. I might be wrong about that, but I thought only certain scenes in that were shot in IMAX. And of course,
Galaxy Quest did it when the scene when they
really?
when Tim Allen first sees when he's gonna get the goo on him and then get launched back to Earth, and it opens up to the universe or whatever. It got real widescreen, but it doesn't do it on the DVD. Go or stay.
That is called reverse psychology, or at least massive manipulation. Somebody said that he's got cult leader charisma. Clearly, he basically is a cult leader.
What's going on with his robe?
I wonder if the same thing.
A shirt on underneath.
It's just open and it's showing similar to a low cut thing for a woman, but he's got a chest, so I mean, they're selling that.
Yeah, I think he's just doing that for her benefit, honestly.
Well, it was open before she got there. I like the silhouette.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, cult leader. She's drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, it is totally believable that she falls for him the way she does. And I like that this ends with her wanting to go with him. Despite all of this, she still, has really fallen for him. And I think it's because she's got this idea in her head of this larger-than-life character. And she's, obviously super starstruck. And then when she meets him, he lives up to all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's also super scary, and then she's also kind of scared of him.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't understand exactly what she got herself into.
Yeah, this is all kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And kind of cool that they got away with it. This is, in its way, some of the darker stuff in TOS. This is one of the scripts that, unlike, Harlan Ellison's City on the Edge of Forever, doesn't feel compromised at all. I don't know how much this has changed from the original. Say that again.
So he said more than a quarter of your world.
So more than a quarter of your world, that's pretty extensive. Uh-huh. They know who Napoleon is. They know who Richard the Lionheart is. They know who these other people are. They've heard of Khan, right? They should have.
He's only there for 3 years, though. Maybe that's why.
Well, yeah. He may have faded.
Well, and I'll also say after this, everybody knows who Khan is. And I don't know if it's because he dealt with Kirk or if retroactively we're treating Khan like a bigger deal than this episode did because Space Seed and Wrath of Khan were popular. So, because, Picard references him, like, a lot of people reference Khan after this.
Right.
So it's a little weird that these guys haven't necessarily heard of Khan. Like,
but, yeah, exactly, because, like, a quarter of the world during the eugenics wars, that's in your history books. Like,
right.
he's
They're like, we don't want another Khan Singh.
Yeah, exactly. He comes up in a matter of time.
Yeah. And of course, with Julian Bashir. Why did they just give him a uniform?
Yeah, that's weird.
When he had that other clothes. I don't know. I don't get that.
They don't ever do that with anybody else, I don't think. No, that's a uniform. I don't know if I've ever thought of that before.
That's not just like a shirt.
And I don't know if we ever made an action figure or anything with Khan in a red uniform like that.
Did they ever do the Playmates of him like that?
I don't know.
I know they did the Playmates of him in the Star Trek II outfit.
Yeah, but that's the only one I've got.
That's the only one I can think of.
Now, if Khan knew anything about, the 23rd century and Kirk on his ship, he would not be wearing that shirt.
So they gave him a shirt with an emblem on it.
Yeah, that's the Enterprise emblem, and then that's like the operations division.
Now, to be fair, he doesn't have rank on his sleeves,
right.
So they're at least paying attention
he doesn't have any
to
rank.
it. So, maybe it doesn't count as a uniform unless it's got rank on its sleeves.
Maybe,
that's just a shirt they have laying around.
It's certainly built like one.
No, do the red
No.
shirts usually have rank when they're just crewmen? I don't
Maybe
know.
they don't. Maybe it's just a crewman
maybe
shirt.
they don't. We haven't noticed.
I've never noticed. Yeah.
But no, I guess the bigger issue is, first of all, you'd think you'd have other
Let's go this
shirts
guy. What has
laying
he got on
around.
his-
Yeah, no, they
he
don't.
just-
But you'd
yeah.
think you'd
No,
have
they-
other shirts laying around, but also he's wearing
So they
clothes
gave him a
already.
security personnel shirt.
Yeah, this makes no sense. I don't understand that. Stephen Murphy says 96 is the year he was born. And yes, it's the year Space Jam and Independence Day came out. And Khan was conquering places, apparently. Big year.
And it was it was a year of great dreams. The Furbies were released. Tamagotchis and Pogs.
And it was
Pogs. I loved
and
Pogs.
it was the year the Olympics were in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
See those pads? Those pads have been all over this episode. Like, I'd like to have one of those, a prop like that.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the nerve pinch a little bit. So Kyle gets nerve pinched there, and then he gets marooned in Wrath of Khan because he's on the Reliant.
And it's also apparently the year when Henry Starling was ripping off technology from the future and basically creating Windows.
Yeah. The Hyper Pro PC.
So apparently, ladies were expected to wear even more risque dress in 1996 than they did in the 60s.
Yeah, that's like probably one of the most revealing costumes, I feel like. That and the thing that Andrea, the android, wore. And
Yeah, that one is leaving nothing to the imagination. That's exactly right.
They just left off the undershirt. That's all they did. It was the exact same outfit that the men were wearing. They just took the...
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, obviously the skimpiest stuff is with your Iran slave girls because it's like you're painted all green, so you can get away with having a lot less.
What about the
because they're basically just
panel.
wearing bikinis.
I never really
This could be a
noticed
top
that
5 list. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. What about the Jiffy Pop bags that the lady wears in Gamesters of Triskelion?
Oh, yeah. No, there's definitely stuff more risque than that.
That's true, Alfred.
Solar Dragon wants to know how Khan would have fared against the Independence Day aliens.
Wait, now he changed his clothes again. He got his clothes
So
out of
MacGyver's
storage.
must have beamed them back on board the ship, I guess, because she beamed him off. She beamed them back.
Yeah.
Would she know how to use the transporters herself?
What were you going to say, Sam?
I was just gonna say he
Just
changed again
wait,
while they were on
wait.
the Botany Bay.
Oh, okay. How much time passed?
Less than 5
Enough to
minutes,
wake everybody
I feel
up.
like.
Yeah, I mean, no, it kind of makes sense that he changed clothes because he was over there for a while.
Would it make sense that they hadn't noticed he was gone for that long, though?
I didn't notice.
Well, they knocked out the
Oh.
guard and they knocked out the guy in the transporter room.
Yes,
So-
but I feel like other
Yeah.
people would have been walking around, seeing that. Like, it was just happened to be an empty corridor. I don't know.
No, he did take over this shit pretty easily. But I like his 96 uniform a lot. I always thought that shirt was super cool. That's not a thing I've seen cosplayed a lot. You think that would come out more. But I
Look at
guess
that. There's like a
that's
cool,
'cause of
like,
Rathacon.
mix in that. Did you see that?
I guess if you want to do
That was great.
if you want to do a con cosplay, you're more likely to do the crazy, Monobon
The
chest
crazy
from
80s one.
yeah,
They look. I like
with the giant medallion. Everybody loves that medallion.
I like this. I like the stuff that they wore in Wrath of Khan. Looked like they made it out of furniture. It looked like upholstery, like what they had laying around. I thought that
Every
was
time
cool.
I've shown this to a group, everyone laughs at some of the places people have decided to fall
know.
on the bridge. It's just unintentionally. Like, this guy back
Like that
here.
guy on the rail.
How do you land on the rail? If I'm directing this episode, I go, no, doofus, that's silly. Like, lay down on the floor. That's silly. Steven says everyone just looks like they're asleep. Yeah, it looks like they got hit by gas. Actually, what did knock them out? I don't
There's
remember
that guy
what
again.
Ian
No air.
said.
Lack
Oh.
of oxygen.
Yeah, that's not probably how you'd fall if you just suffocated.
And also, like, if you're finally passing out from lack of oxygen, like, you don't just get back up real quickly and participate in a
that's
meeting
true.
like this.
I think this is the same room that they used in the menagerie for the court martial.
Is it
scene
really?
with the big screen? Yeah. And then the little computer thing there.
In the future con, you could just like tell the computer to do it itself, and then you wouldn't need somebody to walk up and do it. That looked like it connected.
Oh.
But yeah, Brandon, to your point earlier, the idea of trying to extrapolate like 30 years into the future and try to guess at where we'd be at that point and, what like genetic technology would be like, but also like how far into space travel will we get and stuff. In Star Trek, we're trying to create the history of the future. And so
Right.
it's immediately a provocative idea to go back to the past, but it is also our future. And as I've always said, if you're going to make more Star Trek past the time that we have those dates, you have to just keep extrapolating from the 60s to some degree. You cannot have your cake and eat it too, and we do that all the time. It drives me crazy.
True.
We are in an alternate history at this point. Once we catch up to the eugenics wars and beyond, at this point, we're in the year 2020 now. In real life, World War III would have already happened, I believe.
No, World War III happens in
Or is it later?
2050.
Oh, is it that?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it raged longer.
But the Bell
thing.
riots
Bell
are going to
riots.
happen 4 years from now, supposedly.
That's right. Okay, I've forgotten some of those dates. I remember First Contact is 2061. I've always got that locked in, but
And they said it was 10 years after, so it must have been the 2050s.
okay, there you go.
Yeah. Die.
And we echo this whole torture thing in the Enterprise eugenics episodes, but it's of course a great deal more gruesome. And of course, in this, it's his trying to manipulate everyone to take over. This is a matter of power. It's not.
Right.
It's not torture to get information like it is in that.
Right.
But that is kind of echoing this, because it's like throwing people into a chamber, but in that, it's with deadly diseases. Boy, this guy really likes backhanding people.
No. That's it.
Great
Yeah.
acting overall. Just
So, in her defense, the thing with Nichelle Nichols is that she, and a lot of these actors were, of course, Nichelle Nichols' entire career had been on stage before this. I don't know if she had ever been on television, or if she had, she didn't have a lot of experience. So she forgets that she's in front of a camera and not in front of an audience. And a lot of the bigger over-the-top stuff she does works fine on a stage and is exactly what you need, of course. You know, you exaggerate for an audience that's farther away, where you have to communicate what exactly you're doing. She was a brilliant stage performer, and she was a singer, even more than she was an actress. Yeah.
They did a good job with this. Look at this, and there's another door.
She was on
that's
Broadway.
really neat.
I don't know why they need this. Are they on a submarine? Why do they need
It's like a
decompression
decompression chamber. Yeah, I don't know.
Like being on sick bay or in sick bay, like what would you do with the decon chamber? Would you beam someone directly into it?
I don't know.
You think you want it like Enterprise, where you'd have it on, toward the outside of the ship. So you bring somebody on that you needed to decontaminate, not have it in sick bay. I've never thought of that. I never knew what that was.
Control circuit.
My response to that was always Brandon's, but that's a cool looking piece they built.
It's like pressurization, yeah.
Well, yeah, it decompresses and pressurizes.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
why?
Cinematographic. First Contact was 2063. I guess I don't have that locked in. In my head just now, it was 2061, but it's not. It's 2063. I must have conflated that with 2151, which is the launch of the NX-01. Oh, now we do have gas.
Maybe you conflated it with Babylon 5, and they're like, the years, 2261. The place
Babylon 5. And I didn't like it later seasons, but they stopped saying that. No, the name of the place. See, I didn't like that later. They would stop saying the name of the place. It's my favorite part of that intro. The name of the place is Babylon 5. It's amazing. Bum bum bum. Is this where we get that great fist fight?
Yes. And he pulls these things out of the console, which I really hope they weren't important because he breaks them. I don't know what they were.
Yeah, he's about to smash a monitor that's just going to be made out of cardboard. That's amazing. Oh, man. Now he's going to show us his immense supernatural strength. How does he not break his wrist? That's right.
Yeah,
it's a laser. That's what he bends. That looks great. Look at that.
Yeah, don't fight that guy. It's a great close-up. That's great. We're establishing the stakes. And then we're going to appreciate and root for Kirk even more because he's going to take this guy on.
Manuos.
We didn't talk about how great the verbal tete-a-tete is in the dining scene, but it's awesome. That's not Shatner.
I know it's not Shatner. It's not Ricardo Montalban either.
No, and they just show their faces straight away. And if you watch it any bigger than a 12-inch screen, you're going to notice it, and it's very silly.
Oh my gosh. It's all the scuff marks from them rehearsing this fight scene.
That's not Ricardo Montalban.
Oh my goodness.
That's not Shatner.
Wow.
Who are these people?
Wow.
And why, yeah, that was a mistake. You only do that for the back. You don't show us it. They're like, oh, the camera's back far enough.
Yeah, but like we are, like I said, we're watching this 10 times bigger, so
yeah,
like they never would have guessed.
Yeah, to be fair, you wouldn't expect people to have a screen big enough where they would notice. But
especially
still,
because you didn't expect this show to gain like it did over the years.
See, what was that? What was that thing he took out of there?
He pulled the switch out.
On the ground.
Well, Brandon, you're always hoping for a hit. I mean,
well, sure.
I don't think the number of viewers.
Brandon, they wanted it to run for 20 years, like Bonanza.
Yeah. I don't think the number of viewers you think you're gonna get next week is going to determine whether or not you show a stunt double's face.
Well, no, that's not exactly what I was saying. But like, if
it's
if
exactly
they thought
what you
that
just
it was,
said.
No, if they thought it was going to be a hit. You know, they weren't thinking about the fact that people might be able to see this on a giant screen in 40 years.
Like they got the little bell out for the court martial.
Before I said it, Jason said, "Wow, that's not those actors." So I think the ending of this is what really makes this episode.
Yeah.
Kirk's solution makes a degree of sense, although
he should have gone back and checked on
he
him.
of course should have gone back. Yeah. I forget if he talked to. Does he say whether or not he talks to Starfleet first, or does he just make this
I have
decision
no idea. I think he just
unilaterally?
makes this decision.
That's the other thing that's a little silly about it. If that's the case, if he just if he gets to, yeah.
I'll give him a planet. It was a noble effort. I'll give him a planet.
And I like how he appeals to his vanity. But yeah, the adversarial relationship between these two men and the layers of it built up in just, 35, 40 minutes is quite impressive. You can tell this script was worked on. This is not one of those shows that you wrote in a weekend. And, there's a lot of information on TOS. I've got a book that goes through, every draft change and stuff. And I think this is one of those episodes where they kind of hammered at it for a while to make sure it was just right. But I haven't looked at that in a while. These are the Voyages books. They go through every scrap of paper that they had in the writer's room and in putting the show together.
Right.
It's a little tedious to read cover to cover, but it's really cool that we have all that information. I only have the first volume of that. I need to get the other two.
So they do it for
sweep
just
the floor. What are those
series?
things on the floor? I guess he didn't. I always remember him crushing a monitor. I guess that doesn't happen.
Kirk crushes a monitor in the one where he splits in two.
Okay, that's what it is. I must have been conflating that and thought that was the show of strength instead of the phaser thing. That must be what I was thinking. It's the phaser thing.
Yeah.
Scotty's like, oh yes, I've never read a book.
So better to rule in hell than serve in heaven. That's basically what he signs con to. By the time we get to the movie, he's been a ruler in hell, basically.
Right,
yes,
Brandon.
that's what they call
that's
it.
The whole idea,
rule in hell.
Yeah.
That's why that book is called that we were just talking about earlier. Is one of those like the Starfleet or the Federation flag?
I think so.
Might be, yeah.
I think there's a picture of the actual image on that flag in old TOS like iconography book that I have, but I forget what exactly it looks like.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so we're running a little behind schedule. We'll go ahead and spin the wheel right now so everybody has time to pull up the next episode, and then we'll talk for just a minute. So there was a topic I was gonna do. Maybe we'll do it next week. I was gonna go through and see what everybody's least favorite two-parter of all time was. That was what I was gonna do. But we don't have a lot of time, and we've got Sarah here, and I just remembered, Brandon, we haven't talked at all yet about the Voyager reunion.
Yeah.
So we should probably bring that up. Adam, I don't think you got to see it.
I didn't get to see it, no.
Is it still online?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that you were missing a ton, but we'll tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll send you a link to it unless you can find it
Was
yourself.
Robert Beltran there?
Yeah, but they shafted him, and that
shafted.
was the biggest complaint I wanted to make about that whole thing. But let's set this up for a
I have a
second.
bigger
So
complaint, but-
there's so there's things to complain about. So this year there have been a whole bunch of online reunions for all kinds of TV shows and movies. And some of it's because there's a whole bunch of anniversaries, just like last year, where there would have been televised reunions anyway, where there would have been bigger productions and people would have actually gotten in their car and gone to a place and all been in the same room. But here in the year 2020, we no longer do that. We don't all get in the same room. This is kind of a novelty. The three of us are in one room, but it usually doesn't happen that way these days, of course, because of quarantine. And so there's this channel. So there have been a whole bunch of reunions that have been happening over Zoom now probably, that have been getting a lot of people together that probably wouldn't have otherwise, which has been kind of neat, but some of them have been a little bit lame. So they did it for the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, and that was cool, except half of it was a table read of the movie. And I'm like, I mean, I've seen the movie, you know, like, I
Why
guess
would
it's,
you do that, right?
I guess it's kind of cool to hear some of these people 30 years later saying their lines again, I guess, but I skipped a lot of that. I just wanted to hear them talk about making the film. And so some of that was enlightening and interesting, and, like, they had all 4 of the guys that were in the costumes, not just the voices. Like some of the people they got were from behind the scenes were cool. So they did it with Voyager, and it's this, and they got everybody back except for Jennifer Leon, but made a big deal out of how they had the whole cast, and I thought that was kind of sorry of them. Or like we got Kate Mulgrew before this actually happened said somewhere, you know, made a big deal out of how it's cool that all of the actors are amiable and they all don't mind, you know, being in the same room together and talking. And Jennifer Leon wasn't invited, and she was never mentioned at all. Or if she was invited, they didn't talk about her in that, and I'm assuming she wasn't invited.
And they did make mention about how 7 and 9 only showed up in a later season, you know, but then I thought it was weird if they mentioned that, why not mention her either?
And so it's this channel that apparently does like 2 of these a day, and it's these guys that are more about the stage than they are the screen.
They're theater guys.
They're theater guys, and they spent too much time on screen, and it was kind of a waste of time watching them talk about stuff. You know, it was sort of like if I did one of these things and nobody knew me, and you had to listen to me talk for 5 minutes before I brought on the actors. Like, nobody cares about
and you're just bringing on anybody you can get together. You're not necessarily something you're a fan of yourself.
And they clearly didn't know anything about Star Trek.
Exactly.
The only thing they knew about Star Trek was Vulcans, apparently.
And they thought B'Elanna was half Vulcan.
Yeah.
One of them did.
And they thought Vulcans had money.
Really?
Yeah. So, it was not the best. But why don't you guys talk about it for a second? Like what'd you like about it? What didn't you like about it?
I mean, it was cool seeing everybody, you know, as they are now, and you know, so many years after Voyager's ended. It's always nice to see the actors return and kind of see the relationships, you know, that they have with the other people that they worked with for so long, and so that was fun. I didn't like the moderators at all. And I kind of wish the questions had overall been better and more insightful.
Yes,
they were just really generic.
Yeah,
they were very generic. I would have appreciated some more specific, pointed questions, but again, you're going to get that from a fan and not from these guys.
Something that would have been, you know, bringing up, you know, causing more discussions.
I think good on them for bringing people together.
Even knowing nothing about Star Trek, though, they could have done better than they did.
Yeah.
And the more kind of deep pull obscure stuff was about the actors themselves, because these guys knew some of those actors from stage, and so they would bring up stuff with very little context, and I'd have no idea what I was looking at. So anytime they actually knew what they were talking about, they were speaking Greek to me. And 95% of the audience watching that, and there were a lot of people live apparently, we watched it later, were there for Star Trek. Yeah.
And that was one of my biggest complaints, but like they could have also been doing their shtick and their questions off camera. Like, it wasn't anything we had to be looking at them for. So they're basically, the 2 of them are, in my opinion,
they were taking up
wasting
a space
spot
because they only had
on
6
camera. They
and
could
so
only put 6 at a time.
In the first half, they had half the cast, and then the second half, they had the other half, and they had Mulgrew there the whole time, which is totally fair. I didn't have any problem with Mulgrew being there the entire time. And she was also kind of the glue that held the whole thing together. I felt like without her, there wouldn't have been enough of a presence of, you know, actually talking about the thing that we were there to talk about. Mulgrew, sometimes to me seems a little bit like head in the clouds. In this, I thought she was surprisingly kind of down to earth from other things I've seen her do, and she was relatively laid back for Mulgrew. She was actually kind of fun.
Laid back.
Yeah,
she was.
It was one of the better Mulgrew
interviews
I've seen. Yeah.
I didn't sense any real animosity between her and Jerry Ryan either.
Well, they didn't talk to each other at all, though.
Well, that's true. I mean, they had a couple of words, but it wasn't much.
Every time, no. I mean, like, yeah, they didn't come out and start yelling at each other, Brandon. Wow. Like, what animosity would you actually?
Well, I expected to sense some
buddy.
sort of tension there, but I don't know.
They're on cameras at home and not even in the same room together. It'd be pretty easy to fake that. No, anytime Jerry Ryan brings up that show, she talks about how she didn't have a good time making it, and she's not, and she's pretty blunt about how she and Mulgrew didn't get along. And Mulgrew has since apologized for all of that. So they're again amiable, but they're not friends, pretty clearly, or at least I doubt that they are. But anyway.
How did they shaft Robert Beltran?
They barely let him say anything.
They even brought him in a second time.
Yeah, they asked him one question the whole time, and
he complained the whole time.
he barely said anything.
Probably.
Yeah. So and like he's a little bit curmudgeon-y, certainly, but they shafted him pretty hard.
I did not know any of that stuff about Ethan Phillips, though. Just how he kind of was a kind of. They all talked about him like he was kind of the glue that held the cast together on set, and how he was a lot of fun to work with, and he always had a joke, and they could always talk to him, and he was the nicest guy. That was pretty cool. Not my favorite character, but he seemed like he must have fit in with the cast pretty well.
Them not inviting Jennifer Lien back reminds me. I saw like briefly a clip of Will Smith did like a reunion of the remaining people for Fresh Prince, but he only invited the second Aunt Viv and not the first Aunt Viv.
Really?
Yes, because they hate each other. She like
I didn't know that.
still
why
talks
she got
crap
replaced?
with him to this day.
And I've never seen that whole show, so I didn't even know there was a second actress. I actually just started watching that recently.
Really?
But I'm only in the first season right now, so yeah, I haven't gotten there.
They switched like third season because the stuff on the set was so bad. They fired the first actress because
wow.
She says that he was.
She's
acting
really good
unprofessional.
too.
I know she says he's acting unprofessional, but everybody else is on his side. So I think it's more like she wanted the show to be about her and like not. She was annoyed because they made a whole show based on a guy who wasn't an actor, and she'd been working for like,
well, then she shouldn't have gone on that show. She knew from the beginning that it wasn't called the Fresh Mom from Bel Air. Like
the Fresh Aunt Viv.
What are you gonna do? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and spin the wheel, and because of my settings right now, we're not gonna be able to hear you for a second, Adam. So I'm gonna spin the wheel and then immediately come back where you'll be able to be heard. Okay. Well, actually, no, I can set this up for a second where we can hear you. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. I just gotta make sure and turn that back off. Okay. Anyway, inside baseball, nobody cares. Here we go. Let's find out what our second episode is going to be. I meant to spin this a while ago when I said I was going to, and then I forgot. Here we go. Okay, guys. What are we gonna get?
Sabrosa?
It's the Doomsday Machine. We got two TOS episodes today.
Wow.
That's crazy. Two classic top 10 TOS episodes. Or at least both were on my top 10.
Yeah, mine too. Don't know about Brandon because he didn't write one.
He gave us a few.
I gave a few.
He gave us a few. He gave us the ones he'd heard of, probably.
He's like, I really
I've heard of
like
these ones too. Every time as I said earlier, while you guys were away from the camera and I was holding down the fort, so to speak, I said earlier that I've only seen Space Seed twice, but each time it grown on me. And
this is season 2, right, Adam?
This is no different.
Yes.
So it's funny you brought up Decker earlier. We're gonna get Decker, who may or may not be Willard Decker's father.
That's my favorite lines when Kirk asks him about the planets, and he goes, "They were, but not anymore."
He goes, "But not anymore."
Yeah.
All right, so everybody set up this episode. Get it to timestamp 0. It's episode 6 of season 2. It's the Doomsday Machine. Man, what are the odds?
Crazy.
Stephen Murphy says it wouldn't be Voyager without people not caring about Chakotay. I mean, like Chipotle, yeah. He never got enough to do in that show, of course, and he was unhappy. Pretty early on with the direction his character was going, and just in a lot of the plot threads and plot lines in general. But it's still kind of crazy to imagine that the first officer of the ship, that actor, decades later, is in an interview, and for an hour he gets to talk for like 6 seconds. It's ridiculous. And not one other first officer ever had that treatment.
It's weird, like. The only cast of Star Trek that really seems to get along, like, totally is TNG.
Yep.
Yeah.
DS9 gets close, though.
Deep Space Nine, they got along. I don't think they were close, though, like the TNG people were, though.
It looks like there's, like, pair-offs. There's, like, certain pairs of people and groups. Like, all the Ferengi stayed in touch and were, like, huge, friends after that. And you had that with some of the Klingons and stuff, too. And then you've got, like, Avery Brooks looked at Cirroc Lofton like a son.
Right.
But so there were pair-offs and little groups. But you're right, all together, that's not the case. If you've not seen the DS9 documentary that came out last year, you absolutely have to.
Oh, it's great.
It's just wonderful.
Right.
I want to watch that again. But anyway, and they did so much cool stuff with Garrick, with Garrick's actor in that.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna watch the Doomsday Machine, and then that's gonna do it for us tonight for Star Trek Club. Thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Hope you've been having a good time. Is everybody ready for the Doomsday Machine? Here we go.
Ready.
Everybody ready for the giant sock in space? Except it won't be because we're watching the remaster, so it won't be a sock. But it's based on a sock.
Based on a sock.
Here we go. Based on a sock. It's the Doomsday Machine. Everybody, please press play. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna be a TAS. Everybody, please press play. Right now. That's what everybody in TAS looks like. They get it like on the side of the camera.
Yes, they're always like framed.
They're always like that. Yeah, like half in frame.
Or really big.
Ba-da-da-da!
I don't have any sound. What did I do? I must have muted it. There.
It can't be my fault. It's not
it.
possible.
I muted it because it was doing that dumb playing the preview thing on Netflix or whatever.
Jason, I think you're right. I think a lot of the cast of Enterprise actually kind of stayed friends. But
yeah.
I doubt if what's her face to Paul. I doubt if she kept up with anybody. She always seemed kind of aloof, and she didn't go to conventions and stuff.
Oh, Blaylock.
Julian Blaylock, yeah. But who knows? She was just I say aloof, like she was just really private. So like I don't know anything about that actress.
Only in Nova.
Shows how much you know, Kirk.
Kirk, that's really limited thinking, man.
He hasn't run into Galactus yet.
Oh, right. Who goes around looking for tasty planets to eat?
That looks
Look,
really
asteroids.
cool.
I know, look how close they went. Look out, Sulu.
Did they even attempt asteroids in the original, or did they just say there were asteroids?
I don't think they showed anything. I would highly doubt if they did. Look at that. It was on the screen behind them. They would have had to, like, mat that in again. That was great.
Yeah. Good point. Noah O just came in and said that he got in just in time for one of his favorite TOS episodes.
So Uhura's not in this episode. They have this alternate comm lady in there this time. I don't know where Michelle Nicole was.
Maybe she was on the road doing a play where no one would be making fun of her acting like Brandon does.
Adam did
I
it
also
too.
make fun of her
it
acting.
too.
But I just wanted to be fair to her. I understand why that
And
happens.
unfair to me.
Well, always.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Look at
true.
this.
Par
is
for
one
the
of the-
course.
This is one of the best remastered parts here. The way they did the
Man,
constellation.
I just want to go into a Team BG song that nobody's going to know right now, Sarah. You see the constellation fly across the sky.
So shouldn't they, like, I guess this is the first that they're finding out about
That's
this
gorgeous,
ship.
too.
Like, not even Starfleet knows this
Well, you
ship
see
is
the
adrift.
close-up here. It looks
I haven't
fantastic.
seen this remaster since it came out.
My God, you're going to get blown away.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I don't think I've watched the Doomsday Machine on remaster since, what, 06, 07?
God, that looks so good.
Yep, that's cool. Well, this is exciting, you guys. I wish that these two great TOS episodes had come up when we did our top 10 TOS episodes last week. Although we only did one episode last week. And it wasn't even TOS.
True.
What did we do last week?
I don't remember.
It wasn't TOS, right?
No.
I don't remember either.
It was 2 weeks ago, though.
Was it I just mean last time. Was it a DS9 episode?
No,
I think it was
because
Voyager.
we did the Deep Space Nine. We did at the same time.
Oh, you know what? I think Brandon's right. I think it was Voyager.
It was Voyager.
Why can't I remember things that just happened?
It was
recently?
okay. It was the Voyager episode with the Doctor. Like,
Oh,
has
the
a
doctor
missile.
goes
Yeah.
crazy.
That's right. That's what it was. I saw this really cool video recently of a symphony in England that did the TOS theme just out of nowhere. Nobody expected it. They brought out this Spanish singer, this woman from Spain. Wow, that's gorgeous.
Look at that.
All the busted up
Yeah.
hull on the constellation there. That's awesome.
Yes.
But anyway,
Wow.
I should put a link someplace, and maybe I'll put it in social media. This woman from Spain comes out. She doesn't speak any English. Nobody knows what she's going to sing. They talk to her for a minute and a half, and they just do the TOS theme. And she just belts it and nails it, and it's amazing. And when everybody in the audience figures out what it is a few seconds in, hearing the fanfare, everybody laughs. And then they're all blown away, and when she starts singing, you can just hear them all audibly gasp. And like chills went down my spine. It's amazing.
Concerts like that are great.
Somebody remind me. I'll play that after this. I'll just put it in the video.
So, you know how they did the constellation effect in the original? They went to the hobby store and bought an AMT model kit of the original of the Enterprise.
Did they really?
Burned it up. Yeah, that's all they did.
Great.
That's like Power Ranger level stuff, man.
And that's why the registry numbers are almost the same, because they just rearranged them.
There's a season of Power Rangers, it's either Dino Thunder or SPD, where something happened to one or two of the like communicator or morpher props, and they had to somebody had to go to Toys R Us and just get the toys.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's funny because I noticed the registry number was 1017.
Did you see that piece of asteroid break apart?
Yeah, they bounced
off the ship. That's cool. Jason, why didn't you just yell William Shatner? Wow. He just goes, William Shatner, wow! And then he just wrote, it's so big. But I'm assuming he's not talking about William Shatner.
What is that guy holding? What is that thing?
Gatorade. I don't know.
Gatorade.
One thing that I really like about starships is that you can still get onto them even if they're like severely damaged. You can
beam.
Well, no, you can beam, but I'm talking about the fact that, they're not like completely decompressed. Like any of our modern spaceships, you get a hole in it, you don't go to it. Like it's done.
I see.
Yeah, they have like those force fields or whatever that go up when the ball. They keep it from depressurizing completely.
It's really cool.
They did a really good job of disguising just the normal sets for this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they look really good, and they were really smart about the lighting in this episode. You can it doesn't lose. It doesn't have that Enterprise effect of like I can't see what's happening, so it feels really dark. But they light it in such a way where you're not being taken out by the fact that you can see the characters. Like they somehow illuminate just people and almost nothing else, and it's really impressive.
Right.
The way these lights are used, it's great. You don't have that effect of. These people shouldn't be able to see anything. How's it?
Right.
Right, like...
So dark. Right. They still have some power, obviously.
It feels like it's communicating something to the audience.
Yeah.
While it still makes sense what we're looking at. Oh, Jason was talking about the credits. Where it just says William Shatner huge.
So I like how...
He's William Shatner!
Scotty has to come up with the idea that the backup captain's log could be accessed. Wouldn't Kirk know that?
Oh, he's alive! I'm sorry,
so
what,
this
Brandon?
guy, William Wyndham, he was a TV actor. He was in several episodes of Columbo.
Was he in Westerns and
I've
stuff,
noticed
too?
that recently. Was he in what?
Westerns and stuff?
He might have been.
Brandon, I'm sorry. I missed the point you made earlier.
Oh, Scotty's the one that comes up with finding the sub-captain's log, like the duplicate copy of the captain's log. Like, shouldn't Shatner have, understood that? Why does Scotty... Kirk looks as if he's never heard of this before when
he's the one that would make the captain's logs.
Right, exactly. He should know.
You think he'd know there were backup captain's logs.
Right.
Yeah, Batmud, thanks a bunch for... Or Batmad, rather. Thanks... Batmud. Bat Harry Mud. Batmad, thanks for being here. I'm not sure if you're saying you're leaving, but he just says, thanks for talking Trek. This was fun. Come back, man. We do this nearly every Monday. We skipped last week.
Yeah, he was on a lot.
Holiday.
He was on definitely several Western series back in the day.
He just looked like kind of a typical Western actor to me.
He was on Gunsmoke, of course.
See, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to be fair, I mean, everybody was in a Western.
Everybody's on Gunsmoke. He was on everything.
And Bonanza.
Even Star Trek
Everybody
did
was on
Westerns.
He was on Bonanza, too.
Yeah, because we're in a period where westerns are still more popular than science fiction things, and
Right.
when we really didn't have a lot of obviously science fiction television, and certainly not space operas. But that goes without saying. I'm saying obvious things that everyone knows.
He was in the Twilight Zone.
But who wasn't? Who wasn't in the Twilight Zone? I guess Leonard Nimoy wasn't in the Twilight Zone. He was in.
Leonard Nimoy was in The Outer Limits, and so was William Shatner,
But was he in the original Outer Limits or not until the remake?
the original.
Because Nimoy was also in the remake, and
Oh, really?
and he directed one. Yeah, in the 80s.
Oh.
That's the one I knew about. So if he was in the original, I don't know it. I just know him in the 80s one. I've seen that. It's interesting.
And both William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy played murderers on Columbo.
Wow. I think Nimoy directed an episode about a robot, but I'm not sure if I'm right about that.
That's something we haven't done in a while.
I just haven't seen it in a long time.
Is watch something that a Trek actor's in that's not
I
Star
saw
Trek.
it. Right.
There was.
Yeah, we may do something like that at some point, Brandon. Not anymore.
Yeah.
That line delivery is amazing. Boy, he's committed. Look at that.
All dead.
Man.
Look at the. I always thought that was an interesting insignia.
It looks like the
constellation.
Orin from Neverending Story. I wonder how many takes that took. Like, he's so committed there. I mean, like, the saliva buildup, like, he's so committed. That's amazing. And people like to make fun of him for being really over the top, and it is easy to make fun of that. It's kind of funny, but it's also, like, such committed acting. He's also a really good guest star. He's not Ricardo Montalban, but he's a really good guest star. I also like that we've talked about this before. It's funny, we've actually talked about the Doomsday Machine quite a bit already on this show before getting to this episode. But it, you never know what exactly the origin of it is. It's always a mystery.
Yeah.
And we talked, I think last time, about how some non-canonical stuff have suggested that it's, or come out, right out and said that it was built to fight the Borg.
Borg weapon.
Or was it to fight the Borg, or was it like the beginnings of the
fight.
Borg? I can't remember. I know it's used that way in Peter David's novels, and he has a whole fleet of them at one point, where there's a bunch of Doomsday Machines that all go to fight the Borg. Whole bunch of Doomsday Machines, Sarah.
Tapes.
Yeah, Peter David loves the Doomsday Machine. Yeah, I kind of wish I had saved talking about Before Dishonor, that insane novel that he wrote, where you've got the Doomsday Machines again, and the Borg are destroying planets, just going by them, and they destroy, like, Jupiter, I think.
Is that the one where you
Jupiter
said he just did it because he was trying to piss off the publisher? Or
yeah,
whatever?
he was trying to stick them in an impossible place where they were stuck with a thing in their canon that they couldn't get away from. That was just
because
awful.
it was one of those like relaunch novels from 10 years ago or 15 years ago, that kind of thing.
Well, no, I mean, like, so there are certain novels that are considered non-canonical because of, like, you know, contradictions that other novels would make or would want to make, where they'd retcon things. But a lot of novels have stayed in the canon of the rest of the books going all the way up. Yeah,
of the books, right? It was one of those things where they try to tie the books together.
But we've been doing that for decades now. There's a Voyager relaunch at one point, and all of that has been considered canon from then on. I don't mean canon with Star Trek canon. I mean its own canon. So with the book, for anybody that doesn't know, with the pocketbook Star Trek books. They are obviously all of screen canon is considered canon, and then a lot of them are all canonical with each other. Right. And sometimes writers will get into trouble with that because they won't want to deal with whatever is currently going on in those books, but they'll sort of be forced to.
Was that was Peter David the one that killed off Janeway and then they brought her back or something?
Yes, and that is in that book. Before Dishonor is where that happens.
Relaunch Voyager novels. Okay.
Yep. Yep, that's where that happens. Now that you're saying that, I forgot. I haven't read that since I think it was 2017 when I reviewed that. I read it on the plane coming back from Germany.
So, do we know how fast the Doomsday Machine moves?
Oh, it moves fast.
I guess it's gotta be somehow warp capable.
It must be, because they're talking about how it's on its route to Earth's solar system. Like, it's gonna have to move pretty fast, but like it's stopping at planets. So,
but yes, that's the novel where Janeway becomes the Borg Queen and then dies.
Yeah.
Yes, that happens. It's amazing. And David wrote it bad on purpose. It's fantastic. It's worth reading because it's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. But it's really stupid. And he knew it. He absolutely knew it. I may put together some excerpts at some point and read some of that on air. That may be a good idea. Steven says, and there's Sulu. Wasn't in the last episode we watched. He probably got lost. Yeah. Oh my god, it looks amazing.
Oh, he always looks back. Look, they use that shot a lot of him looking back.
So he says it looks very much like Decker's Planet Killer. Decker's standing on the bridge. He could say, "That's it."
He could say, "Yep, oh yeah, I recognize that."
Thing. Like,
I can identify it for you, sir.
You better get away from it. Like, I've already stared this thing down once.
Okay, so Roger Lee, thank you, and also I hate you. He just put Code of Honor on the wheel.
Oh no.
We got Code of Honor!
Look at that, that's cool.
Luton.
Garrett Wong's most hated episode.
It's a bad episode. It's very bad. Isn't that the episode he saw? He didn't know anything of Star Trek, and then that's what he watched, and then when he get the role of Harry Kim, they gave him
That's
that
what they
episode.
sent him. So he saw it on TV like 3 times. It was the only thing he'd ever seen from TNG, and it just kept coming up whenever he would channel surf and find Star Trek. He's like, oh, this is terrible. I guess Star Trek sucks. And then they sent him a VHS tape, and he's like, yeah, send me some VHS to watch of TNG so that I have a better sense of Star Trek. They sent him Code of Honor.
I can't believe, why would they do that? Somebody from the studio just picked a random episode, I
Clearly,
guess.
yeah, because if anybody from the production had sent it to him, they would have sent him, like, yes, it is Enterprise, your best of both worlds, or... Remember, this is when TNG is done! You have the whole 7 seasons you can send him! Anything! Yeah, Wendell, this episode is a fantastic remaster. Thanks for being here, Wendell. Wendell was giving me crap earlier because I didn't give you the command chair, and I don't know what he meant by that. I don't know if he meant this chair or my captain's chair, but that's way over there, and it's not the most comfortable thing to sit in. My actual captain's swivel chair. If you haven't seen that, it's a custom job that a friend of mine did back in our old Star Trek club for me, which is just awesome. And I still want to rig up lights in it, Brandon.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We've talked about it for years.
Better.
Yeah.
We could do it.
Spock.
Spock.
God, Spock, pick up the phone. Half speed, quarter speed. And then we'll go to double red alert, Adam.
Yes. Double red alert.
Quarter speed, 8th speed, 16th speed.
So this is like their battle bridge. It's pretty
That
cool.
scene is amazing. That's so funny. I just love, like, irritated adaptations Kirk. It's the best Kirk.
Yeah. You ever notice the lighting on TNG definitely changes from episode to episode depending on who directed it? Like,
But TOS does not
TOS,
have that problem. Oh, you mean TOS has that problem?
Yeah, TOS.
Because I think
does a
TNG
lot.
had that some here and there as well, but yeah.
TNG did too, but I think TOS like sometimes will be like really cool colors and almost very dark.
I guess
other
I've
time-
noticed that a little bit less than you have, or it's just been a while since I've watched through this, but yeah.
You notice it more in the remaster too, I feel like.
No, I guess you're right about that now that I'm thinking about it.
Rigel? Or as my
do you remember
8th grade science teacher called it, Rigel.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, do you remember that character in the penultimate episode of Breaking Bad who pronounced it Rigel?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember that, Adam? Where you've got
we laughed.
You got those friends of Jesse's.
Yes,
that
the
are
stoner guys.
the
that
stoner
argued about
guys?
Star Trek.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
arguing about Star Trek, and it's written by somebody who kind of knows Star Trek, but not
They
really.
didn't correct his
and
pronunciation. Yeah.
They know some. They knew Tula Berry wine, but they said it was in Voyager, not Deep Space
well, they
Nine.
also said Voyager was in the Gamma Quadrant. You remember that?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
went Gamma.
Yeah,
Oh, that's in
no,
Gamma
that's what it
Quadrant.
was.
No, that's
They-
Voyager.
That's what
You
it was. He
idiot.
goes, "That's
Yeah.
Voyager, yo. Yeah.
And then,
That's what he-
and then I read too far into that kind of thing, and I'm thinking, is it possible that this writer actually knows that that's all wrong, but did it on purpose because these guys don't really know their stuff? Is that
yeah.
what it is? I don't know. No
So they
idea.
was
That's
talking about
Voyager,
Tula Berry
yo.
wine being from the Gamma Quadrant, but he was wrong about what show it was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we
And
saw
also
the,
pronounced it
remember when we saw
Rigel.
the El Camino movie, they had all the Time Life or Columbia House VHS
Of TNG?
cassettes up on the wall. of
Or was it
TNG.
or was it TOS? Yeah, they had all the
Gee, it
yeah,
was
Sarah,
weird.
remember those old those old VHSs
great
that I had of TNG?
Yeah.
They had those in the background in a scene at the beginning of the Breaking Bad movie.
Solid neutronium.
Nice.
Neutronium.
So, this doesn't exactly
Ooh,
make
that
sense
music
to
cue
me.
was awesome. I didn't remember that.
It doesn't exactly make sense to me because the physician on hand could say, he suffered traumatic loss of crew, like he's unfit for command.
Wendell says, I never considered Sulu a trendsetter, but his haircut is timeless.
It's been a while since I've seen this episode.
I don't know why you can't certify it. Oh,
Oh, he's got to
just
prove
write
it.
him up.
He's got to prove
Write
it.
him up.
Adam. I didn't think he had to prove that, though. I thought he could just, at any time, say you're unfit for command.
Yeah,
and
people
he
do
just-
that. Doesn't
just file a report.
Crusher does it in what is that episode? I can never remember the title of with the fake Picard singing.
Jason says he just wants to sit in that chair.
Yeah, he's really leaning into it there. It's really comfortable. Do something.
TOS is always, and it doesn't seem to matter who the writer is, TOS is always really good at these, like, trying to figure out regulation scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where we have to stop everything and kind of look at the rule book. And those are very often really nice dramatic scenes. They should be boring and, like, all expository and awful, and they're not.
Right.
I dig this guy's performance as Decker.
I'm telling you, he's great.
He is. He really is. He's a crazy man.
And yeah, he's not fit for command, but I can also see why that's really hard to certify right now.
But I also think that
If I were him, I
being,
would shave, probably, just to look a little bit less crazed, but...
McCoy being a
Yeah,
doctor on the
he did.
flagship, though, or, well, I mean,
He just
on...
walked right on the bridge and took over.
I feel like McCoy's word should be taken at something, though.
Yeah.
See, I wonder how many people who were there...
Banking to the left.
I was going to say, I was wondering how many people who were there at the time and watched this show, it was a big deal for them to see the remasters and finally see the Enterprise do stuff like bank.
Yes.
You've also got purists that didn't like that we did it at all, but it all integrates really well. It looks good.
Oh,
And you
that's-
still, at least on the Blu-ray, you
shot.
still have access to the original version.
Yeah, and I mean, I've kept my DVDs, of course. I can go back to them,
Right.
but I don't tend to. I think they did a good enough job that it's hard to want to go back now.
Yeah, I don't really watch them.
I mean, I want them, for the sake of history, and I want my kids to see them, but or at least to see a couple episodes that way, so they know where we came from.
Let's set up a second screen and timestamp them just right.
You can't, because like I said earlier,
Yeah,
there's different
extras.
links.
Yeah, that's true. That's unfortunate, but interesting.
Wendell, it is true that no one sits in a chair like Riker. We talk about that all the time. David says Riker leans in a chair very similar to the Commodore, and then Wendell says no one sits in a chair like Riker. That's true, but but I guess Decker's closer to Riker than anybody else.
There's a whole video on YouTube of Riker just getting into chairs.
Right. Well, then the way he stands on Data's console, like he puts
his leg up there. He does that too.
Yeah.
David Dilks puts in a $5 super chat and says, "Do you enjoy the Voyager episode Repentance? It's the one where they have to escort the death row inmates. I don't remember that right off. Do you?
Death row inmates.
Yeah, that's not ringing any bells.
I have no idea.
I don't. I'm
Weird.
Totally.
You've stumped us here. Let me look that one up.
Yeah, I've got nothing on that either.
Oh, hold on. We got Doomsday Machine action here.
Yeah.
The computers are going out. Oh my god.
Would you like me to put it on the wheel? Because you now have.
Oh, this is a season 7.
Oh, it's season 7, and I didn't watch that season more than once. Most of those episodes because they're pretty bad. Most of them. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Where are what are they?
When the Voyager transports a group of prisoners on the way to be executed, the crew questions the justice system of the aliens' planet. I do not remember.
Why would they even get themselves into a situation like that?
Because it's Voyager and they're out of ideas in season 7.
Yeah, but that still doesn't track with Star Trek.
So yeah, David, let me know, and don't feel the need to put in another super chat just in the regular comments if you actually want me to put that on the wheel or not. But I can't tell you if I enjoyed it because I don't remember it. So it didn't leave an impression on me clearly, and I'm not going back to it. Sarah and I are doing a watch through of Voyager right now, and we're halfway through season 4, so we will get there. God, all I can keep doing is just say, "This looks amazing."
Fire.
That was an interesting third-person sensor view.
Yeah, we have those all over TOS. Yeah. Bum,
Sulu can't believe his eyes.
I always like Sulu's little thing that comes up out of his console he uses.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, we really elevated this episode with these effects. Like, this is what they would have done if they had been able to, obviously.
Right.
Okay, I'm putting this episode that none of us remember on the wheel now.
No.
Hey, he is entitled to an episode pick, and that's what he picked. And look, we're gonna do every episode if we keep this show going. You know, we're gonna try to get to everything. So, might as well get it on there, Adam.
Get on there.
I mean, if I can spell it right, there we go.
Whoa.
What they say that was pure what radiation?
Neutronium.
No, it's neutronium whole.
Neutronium.
But
I don't know what that is.
That's not the radiation that they were
neutronium.
using. That's not what it was using to. It was pure something to tear the planets apart.
You know, in 1985, you could probably get neutronium at any corner drugstore, but here in 1955, it's a little hard to come by.
Just a little, and not here in 1966.
And the fallout from all the atomic wars.
I did not. This is 90. This is going to be 67 or 68.
Okay.
I do not remember, or I didn't remember Uhura not being in this episode.
Yeah, and I think this lady appears in another episode. I can't remember which one it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so relieve him now.
So he's wearing the communication thing now.
Yeah, he wears that sometimes.
He does it sometimes, yeah.
That's an I love that antenna on the side of that thing.
It's a Bluetooth.
I know, but it's so obtrusive.
And he just owns it, man. It doesn't look silly when he wears it.
No, but Uhura's always holding it when she's talking with it.
Just get good.
Just makes her look like she's doing something, you know. Wow, look at the flames out the front of it. It's so epic, you guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, I was going to say, that's not the main view screen. What are we looking at?
It's something in engineering.
What?
Yeah, no, for a second I just didn't know what that screen was.
Are you talking about where Kirk is?
Yeah.
He's in the battle bridge of the constant.
Oh, that's what we mentioned that.
Starship.
Yeah.
It's like the auxiliary control room.
I forgot they had just the way Shatner decides to fall in front of that is great. Push the engines, Mr. Scott.
So it's obviously like they're using part of the engineering set for that, and then like part of the conference room set.
That's a clever redress, then.
To make it, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's
neat.
so cool.
I bet at this
Become-
point there's a model of that, right? Of the constellation
It
all
should be.
botched up, yeah.
Well, that's what Adam was saying, right? They went out and bought a.
I'm saying I'm sure at this point they've made a model
did.
of it
Oh,
that
yes,
you
yes,
can
yes.
go buy, Brandon. Because there's a lot of models of like wrecked starships.
That's true.
So I just recently bought the NX-01 that Art Asylum put out way back in the day. Now, which is crazy to
Really?
say, but it's been like 18 years. Yes, and it's lovely, and I've always wanted one, and I love it. But there's also a wrecked one that I think they call the hero version or something. And yeah, I'm not planning on getting that, but there's that other version. So I had to pick between them. Jason says, "Oh my gosh, that sound! I hate it."
So
Is he talking about the-
Palmer, who is the communications officer? She appears in this episode and The Way to Eden.
Still as that communications officer?
As the
They
same
remembered her in this, but didn't put her in until a full season later.
Yeah.
Wild. Or several episodes, anyway.
Yeah.
So do we not have Uhura or Chekhov in this episode?
No Chekhov either.
Wow. We did it!
Did it?
Mission
Yeah.
accomplished.
I don't think so.
So it's obligatory. Nobody said Moby Dick yet, so I gotta make sure that Moby Dick comes up.
Yeah.
So, Moby Dick. I just said it.
Captain Ahab has to go hunt his whale.
You do have books in
Yeah,
the
books in the
24th
20th
century?
century.
Actually, I never read it. I just watched that again the other day.
Line must be drawn. Yeah. Space rubble. That's the technical term for it. Space rubble.
Space Rebel. Well, they do work for Space Fleet Command.
Space Fleet Command. And USPA.
I forgot about USPA.
USPA.
I always loved. I don't know what episode it is. It's really
Space
early, but I always
Agency.
like to go back to Space Fleet Command. I'm sorry, what, Adam?
United Earth Space Probe Agency.
USPA.
USPA.
Noah, the first episode we watched today was Space Seed. Just these two, like, major classic TOS episodes both came up on the wheel of Star Trek today.
Yes.
Boy, really exciting night tonight on
Yeah.
Star Trek Club.
I had to kill him.
I am that jerk.
I
am
put
that
him in
lunatic.
the agony boot. 'Cause I'm the mirror decker.
Get him with the Tantalus field.
Some choice words.
Down here.
Get down here. Maybe don't point like that ever again.
But not a lunar day. Because that's like a month.
Tom, it's an earpiece that Spock has. It's basically like a Bluetooth device,
It's Bluetooth.
and he wears it quite a bit. And of course, Uhura always has one.
And Uhura has a Klingon one in Voyage Home.
She's a
I thought
Klingon
that was
one?
cool. Yes.
I never noticed that. So it's different looking.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's a little
black?
different. It's like green.
Oh, okay. I was just imagining something jagged and jet black. But I don't remember that. I just figured it would be the most uncomfortable thing possible and you wouldn't want to put it in your ear. That's what I figured.
How's that even staying in without falling out? I don't get it.
I don't know, but it
He
works.
has it. Is he eating those computer
See,
cards or
yes,
whatever?
this is why as a kid I always thought these looked like pieces of cheese.
I know.
He just gets really nervous and he starts going, you know,
I
it's
think they're
because
also-
in the
I'm pretty sure they're
23rd century
they're
they don't
painted
have
wood.
fidget spinners, see? So you gotta
Yeah.
have something else. Is that you just eat cards. You just eat
Yeah,
computer
cards.
chips.
are painted wood.
Eat this painted wood. Eat it!
They look like a child's toy. Like blocks.
Yeah, they
for
look
a
like
baby.
blocks. That's exactly right.
Put them in little slots.
But you know there are fans that would pay $100 a piece to have those. Nah, Decker's fine. He got to sit in that chair. He's good now.
Mr. Montgomery.
And then the agony booth.
And then the tantalus field. So, Commodore, your agonizer, please.
Please.
So, I don't know why we stopped using the rank of Commodore. I also don't know why we brought it back in Picard, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't use it after TOS at all.
I know.
Like, it never comes back.
And Geordi calls that Romulan guy Commodore. It's like a disparaging thing.
Yeah, no, it's great. In the anime...
Look at this. Look at the floor. You can see the scuff marks again from the fight.
Oh, wow.
Every
Look at
fight
that.
scene they do on this show.
So you ever notice how, like, when something's
Did you see
going
how this
down
guy
the
was
bridge-
looking down? He wasn't even looking at
I know,
him.
this guy's crazy. Watch. He sucks too. Watch this. He really sucks. He gets his ass kicked. Look.
You ever notice when something's going down
That's
on the
amazing.
bridge? Sulu,
He just went through a door?
like
Yeah.
when they come back from whatever it was, Sulu always is smiling really big. Like when Decker gets relieved from duty and Spock takes over, like Sulu's all relieved, but he always gets this big smirk on his face.
Yeah, and the biggest, creepiest one you ever get is Mirror Zulu and Mirror Mirror. It's that horrifying smirk he does.
And he's holding the dagger like this.
Showcraft Hangar Deck, like that's a regular like sign for your desk.
Yeah, they just went to the office.
They went to the
supply
engraving
store.
supply, yeah.
I can't
I'm
wait
getting
to get
good.
to the enemy. Next time I get a pick, I might put the enemy on the list. So we can
Shit,
get
there's wobbling.
Commodore.
Bakra.
Bakra. Centurion Bakra.
Or Bakra, that's what it is. I'm Centurion Bakra.
Centurion Bakra.
So Kirk asked for like 1/8 or 1/4 power earlier for impulse, and the best he can get is 1/3.
Yeah. Better. See, that's why they call him the miracle worker.
Yeah, David, I was also curious about that Space Force show that Netflix just dropped. It's like a comedy about the whole like United States Space Force thing. It's like a slightly in the future thing. Patrick Warburton's in that show, so I'll probably give it a go. But he says it's decent.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Yeah, that has Steve Carell and John Malkovich in it.
I'll
Jane Lynch too, right?
I'll probably give that a go then.
I
I
saw
wonder
Jane Lynch
if
in
that's
preview.
successful. I wonder if there's going to be like a whole kind of new batch of space comedies because the Orville was
Maybe so.
popular.
Maybe so.
You get the Orville, and then if that's good, then a lot of people might try to make more of those kinds of things.
The one shot that bugs me in the remasters a lot is the shot of the inside of the hangar deck, because I feel like they made like the deck too glossy and it makes it look more CG than it should have.
Oh, that's a good point.
So this is interesting. I guess I really didn't realize you really can't see out of the front of this thing.
They have little shutters that come
Oh,
open and
there it
stuff
is,
like
yeah.
that.
But like he was flying, based
He's
on
flying blind.
sensors.
He was looking at those scopes.
Yeah,
at those-
this is on the sensors. Yeah.
The scopes.
So I guess
Kill my crew.
we're flying past the Doomsday Machine, but it looks like it's flying backwards.
Yeah. Well.
I always like that shot where he's just looking slightly off camera.
The shot when the thing shoots him here is really good.
Oh, that looks cool.
Like,
That
of
was
course,
really cool.
Of course, he's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts, but he ultimately ends up being pretty sympathetic, I think.
It's a rogue arc.
He's a tragic character.
Here it goes.
Well, maybe not your judgment right
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna say.
You're not so much. I think at this point you're just buttering him up so he won't kill himself.
It's too late.
I like his reaction here when the statement.
Are you ready to meet your maker? Wow. It's a real, oh God, what have I done moment.
There it is. Look.
Well, not what have I done? I mean, he's committed to this.
Well, yeah, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy.
Ah.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do to help that, Adam.
Nope.
That shot's just gonna be the way it is.
Yeah.
That was illogical.
Thanks, Spock.
That was totally illogical.
He's gone.
And he's gone.
Wait, the thing is still following them.
Jason thought his face was funny. Jason, you're laughing at a dying man.
You know what? There's another good shot of somebody getting like vaporized or whatever is in the Balance of Terror when that guy's on the view screen, and the base or whatever that's all on fire and destroyed, and then the Romulans destroy it.
I forgot to wear my uniform today. I just realized that. Nobody's called me on that yet. I usually wear my uniform on the show. Sorry, I forgot my uniform. I'm not even doing jury duty.
Oh man.
I'll wear my uniform.
Are you talking about that lady back in the 90s?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
In Trekkers
In
or
Trekkies.
whatever?
Yeah.
Trekkies, yeah.
We should watch that in club. It's great.
She wore it to the court. That's what you wear to get out of jury duty.
Yeah, I know, right? She acted like she was like being in a Star Trek club is like being in the military, and she goes, "I'll wear my uniform." She came back for the sequel, I think. I think she's interviewed in that too.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen the sequel ever.
It's not bad. They do a global thing in that where they go to some other countries and find Star Trek fans in other countries, and they do a whole section on Star Trek rock bands.
Oh.
And that's like 2004, 2005, so it's old now too. I mean, it's like 16 years old now. And I met what's her face? What can't I think of people's names?
Denise
Denise
Crosby.
Crosby. I think I've talked about this before, but I met Denise Crosby just like a couple years after that came out, and she was working on trying to get a third one together. And Rod Roddenberry was already working on his documentary and wouldn't let her make it.
Oh, really?
And so 3 never got made, and she was talking to me at that convention when I was telling her about our club and stuff, somewhat seriously about maybe trying to feature us in that documentary. We could have been in that.
Oh, wow.
And then it didn't
That'd
get
be
made.
cool.
Yeah.
So who have you not met from the TNG cast?
I mean, I've seen nearly everybody on stage talk, but I've never met Patrick Stewart, and I haven't even been to a con that he was at.
Right.
And yeah, no, I've probably only met half. I mean, I've never actually talked to LeVar Burton, but I've seen him on stage. I've never talked to Frakes.
You talked to Dorn, right?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about that though. That was one of the worst fan experiences I've had. He was just having a bad day, but yeah, it wasn't great. He wouldn't make eye contact with me. He was in a bad mood. He signed my batleth, and he seemed very curious to see whose signatures were on the batleth, but I caught him at a bad time, I guess, and he just wouldn't talk to me. Was not the best.
Would you retry that?
What, you talking to Dorn again? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I probably would, at this point. I was upset about it on the day, to be perfectly honest with you, but I understand people have off days.
Sure.
He didn't go to you. There's no damn ship.
No. I wasn't acting like a raving ding dong. I just brought him a thing to sign. I mean, like, yeah, I was wearing a uniform shirt, but like, I don't. That makes me nuts. I was at a convention.
Right.
I don't know.
So is everybody else.
I don't know. Yeah, like, I was the only person that day he'd seen doing that. No, it was right after a panel, and I don't think he was wanting to sign anymore after that. But he sat down at his table, and you know, they could have put up a sign or something if like I wasn't sure what was going on. Like, he could have just said, "I'm not signing right now" if he didn't want to sign anything.
Scotty's in that tube thing.
He was in that tiny little tube thing, but there's all this electrical arcing going on around
He's
him.
always
Like,
in there. That's great.
Yeah, but he should be like.
We should
getting
build one of those
electrocuted.
in Brandon's
those.
house.
Isn't that
Yeah.
a Jeffries tube?
So is that like the Jeffries tube?
Yeah, I think that
US
is the original
equivalent of a
Jeffries tube.
Yes, that's what they mean when they say Jeffries tube in the show.
And it's named
Is it
after
in this show?
Matt Jeffries.
Matt Jeffries.
Everyone knows that, Brandon.
I know, but still like mentioning it.
Man, I can't remember what it was. There was something a couple weeks ago that I saw that did something with a Jeffries that I thought, I can't remember what it was, that maybe canonicizes in Star Trek it being named after something else, but I cannot remember for the life of me now what it was. I'll look that up later. I cannot remember what it was.
Spock.
Spock. Any minute now, Spock.
Any minute, Spock.
He's got to press his 8-track buttons.
Sorry.
Switches.
Oh! Again.
Somebody put a firework under there.
Jason, what are you talking about with something that happens to Sato in season 2? Enterprise, I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Leave me aboard.
Jason said earlier, apparently, that deaths in Star Trek are always funny. It's kind of true. It's kind of true, Jason.
Everything is going crazy.
Yeah, Jason keeps watching these episodes with us, and I'd put him on camera if we had more space. Just right here, there's not a lot of room. Maybe rig him up so that he can come in on Skype with us
On video,
next time.
yeah.
I like how they've got the Enterprise, the model bobbing back and forth.
Whoa! After that happens, I don't know if I would want to be beamed.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel safe to me.
It's not as bad as
Oh, it's gorgeous, man.
not as bad as in the motion picture when the horrible death happens and then 10 minutes later they beam McCoy aboard.
Yeah, I remember that. So they made a big deal
it's fixed now.
in the remaster here of making sure that looked as pretty as it could, because like that's a big money shot in Star Trek. Like you see that, just a shot of that with the Enterprise in front of the Doomsday Machine all the time.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the big shots that when they decided to do this, they were already thinking about, I bet.
So interesting how as soon as they kill this thing, it starts drifting. Like, inertia would have just kept it moving forward, but like, maybe the explosion of the ship threw it off course.
Maybe
I
the
don't know.
explosion of the inside of it threw it off. Yeah.
Stephen Murphy, you're right. The Doomsday Machine does look a little bit like Unicron. Unicron! Which is one of my favorite things to listen to Nimoy scream. Unicron!
Quite.
Because he was Galvatron.
Palmer.
There are a couple of Palmers, I think. Because I think there's a Palmer in TNG too, right?
There is
Who
Palmer's
watches?
the one.
Is that who watches the Watchers? Oh yeah, Palmer! Yeah, with the Proto-Vulcan.
So that guy who plays.
I almost put that on my list today. I almost put it
It's
on
on
there.
my runners-up. Yep, I had to cross it
I
out.
runners up.
The guy who plays the father in that episode, he plays somebody
There,
else
Doomsday Machine.
in Star Trek 2. I had it looked up the other day.
Yeah, he's in a couple things.
What father?
In that
Who's
episode.
Who watches the
Watcher?
Watchers?
Well, yeah.
Oh, it's Ray Wise. He's in a lot of stuff.
But he's in another episode of Star Trek too. What was it?
He's Artis or Arturus.
Arturus and Voyager.
Arturus in the Voyager episode.
Yeah.
Hope and Fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
And then the daughter in that episode is Pamela Adlon, and she probably known for her appearance on King of the Hill as the boy on that
Oh, is
show.
that who
Bobby
voices
Hill?
that? Bobby
Yeah.
Hill? Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
I love
And
that show.
she has her own TV show on FX called Better Things about her raising her daughters as a single mother. It's a fantastic show.
Oh, interesting. Well, there we
That
go,
was when
guys.
she was like 20.
We just got to watch us a bunch of great TOS. And now, as we wrap up here, we're going to go ahead and... Oh, I can't move this too far. Oops. Sorry. So as we're I've just been in TAS this whole time. As we wrap up, we're going to go ahead and start rating. So if you're new to the show, the way we rate here is on the Superhero Rewind 0 to 4 scale. So 0 is atrocious, worst thing ever, and 4 is great, and there's not a lot wrong with it. And you can do decimal points in between, so 2.5, 3.5, whatever. I always do 0.5s. These yahoos like to get crazy with their decimal points. Go to 0.311936.
Brandon's like, I'm going to do pi.
That's Brandon's kind of thing. So you guys feel free to rate in the comments if you watch these two episodes. And sometimes we rate one after the other. I kind of forgot to do that earlier, so we'll go ahead and just rate them both right now. And I'll just go first real fast because we've talked about these episodes a lot, and we just did commentaries. But both Doomsday Machine and Space Eater 4s for me because they're top 10 material, and I think all my top 10s are probably 4s or real close to 4s, so these are 4s for me. That's all I have to say. I don't have anything to add about than what I said earlier. So Sarah, are these 4s or is anything a 3-5?
Well, Space Seed is a 4 because that's probably top 5 for me. I love that episode.
Yeah.
I try to go back to it every so often. Doomsday Machine, I think I might bring it up to a 3.5 because I don't. That's actually only the second time I've ever watched that episode.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. So the first time I watched it, I actively disliked it, and
wow.
This was a much better watch for me. So I think the remaster definitely helped it.
Which is interesting because you always say that you don't really notice effects and stuff.
No,
but clearly you do.
But well, I mean, for that, that's all this episode is.
Well, that's
to
true too.
I
Yeah.
dislike
Right,
Decker. I don't like how he messes up the Enterprise. I don't really care much for his suicide thing.
He's
at
a
the end.
madman.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it doesn't reach me in any way. And then I just think killing it off at the end is way too easy because that thing
That's
partially
fair.
destroys ships by pulling them into itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it had pulled in the Enterprise, would it have blown itself up? I don't know.
Well, not if
No,
they
said it to
they had
explode.
rigged it to detonate or whatever. Like
Yeah, so if
at
the
the-
Enterprise
at
had
that-
thought, oh, well, we're doomed, we can't get out of this tractor beam, let's
They could have
just
detonated it.
self-destruct.
And
Yeah,
are
they
you
could've done
also
that.
But
thinking
they hadn't
that
come up with that idea yet. It
But
was
I think
everyone
they
in
had
Star
we-
Trek
they
always
had
self-destructs
weakened
if
it,
they're going
and
to die.
that-
later on though? I mean, you're kind of taking preconceptions from later into this though.
Well,
We've
yeah, but
never
it's
done a
just-
self-destruct
it's
thing
just
before
too
this,
easy.
or
Well,
if we have, I don't know where it is. Maybe we did. I don't know.
Decker
I just
didn't
don't
rig
think it's a
himself to
very fun
explode
episode.
though.
But is the other? Well, and honestly, it may be a little bit overly long at the end. I'm starting to think that my 4 is a little bit liberal, but I've always liked this episode, so I'm going to stick with that for now. But and it's hard to be especially objective when you're just talking over an episode. It's weird to rate a thing when you were talking over it the whole time, but we're doing it anyway. But to your point, let me ask you this: we're very mysterious about what the Doomsday Machine is and how old it is. But it looks like a thing that's probably been around a while.
Sure.
So are you also maybe thinking that if it's pulling starships into itself, somebody else should have thought of that by now?
Yeah.
Somebody else should have blown it up earlier if it
Yeah.
could be blown up from the inside.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that when they get to the end, they're just trying to come up with an easy wrap up?
Yeah. I kind of think it should have just.
They wrote themselves in a corner and
Yeah.
weren't writing to a conclusion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know how else they would have ended it, but yeah, it was just too easy.
Send it to another dimension. Get it sucked into... Actually, you could have done that. You could have found a black hole or something, sucked into a black hole.
They could have sent it 900 years into the future,
Right.
like the end of season 2 of Discovery.
Oh, God. And then the Doomsday Machine creates the temporal Cold War.
I don't know. Maybe they could have maneuvered it to get caught in that solar system's star. So,
Yeah. That would have been a better solution. And you could have still done an epic sacrifice with that, because you could have just had him be the thing that steers it into that. Oh, no, don't sacrifice your whole ship, Kirk. I'll just take, I'll just somehow lure it with a shuttle. I don't know how you do that, but something.
I think they were also...
Tractor beam it. Tractor beam the Doomsday Machine. Sorry, what?
They may have been constrained by the practical effects they could do at the time. I don't know how easily they would have been able to do it flying into the sun, necessarily.
I don't know. We're just
drawing.
we're just kind of spitballing here. Brandon, what are your ratings?
My ratings are both...
Oh, did you said Space Season 4? Okay, all right, good. Brandon, sorry.
Both.
Bye. We'll see you later. Oh, hello.
All right.
Both of these are gonna be a 3-5 for me.
Stop bouncing everywhere.
These are gonna be 3-5s for me. Space Seed continually goes up in my book. The first time I saw it, I wasn't in the right headspace, and knowing Khan the way I did with the movie first, kind of, excuse me, it was a step back for me. But I understand where he comes from, and I appreciate his cunning in the episode a lot more than I originally did. With Doomsday Machine, that was only the third time I think I've seen Space Seed. So then Doomsday Machine, I've seen that a few times as well, and I always appreciate the magnitude of what it is and what it can do. I would have liked to have seen it. I would have wished we could have seen it actually destroy a planet. That would have been cool, but I understand budgetary constraints and the year in which it came out. So, but yeah, 3-5s.
Go ahead, Adam.
I would give it both 4s because they were both on my top 10 list also. But
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot else
the
to
internet.
say about it.
But you can.
Yeah.
But Sarah makes good points. And maybe we're being too liberal for Doomsday Machine being a 4. I don't know. Okay, Noah, we'll read some ratings from the audience real quick. Noah says for Space Seed, 2.5 for him. Wow, that's pretty low. Doomsday Machine is a 3.5. David puts them both at 3.5s. Tom went 3.9 and 3. This is just barely not a 4. Jason gave Space Seed a 3.5 and said, really good episode. Khan was good. Basically everything was good, but not my favorite. And he also says, Doomsday Machine is a 3, good episode. What is wrong with Decker? That's great. Really nice, concise reviews there, Jason. Good job. Wendell gives Space Seed a 3. And Doomsday Machine 3.5, and the 0.5 is for the beautiful remaster. Yeah, he's being more critical of TOS. I think I was just excited that I got to watch 2 really great TOS episodes in the same night.
Right. I rate them all on a scale of their respective series. So, that's a 4 TOS. So with Enterprise, it's gonna be hard to rate a 4 compared to some of the other better episodes in some of the other series.
Yeah, so
I usually try
rating that for
I make it relative.
If you're just rating it for its own series, and there would be 4s, then in some other series it would not even
I
get
might
remotely
not.
close to a 4.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's the same logic that SF Debris uses in his reviews. He always says that I'm rating, on compared to the series I'm talking about.
Curve, right.
Grading on a curve, precisely. Everybody, thanks a bunch for joining us. I hope you had a good time. We certainly did. We're going to go ahead and get going, but we'll see you again next Monday for another Star Trek Club. We will count down our absolute 5 favorite TNG episodes, and Sarah will catch up with us maybe and give us her bottom 5, and not bottom 5, but bottom 5 of the top 10.
Of the top 10.
And then maybe
6
next
through
week
10.
we'll also talk about, if we've got time, some bad episodes like I wanted to do this week. Anyway, I'm glad everybody had a good time. We'll see you again next time. I was Captain Logan. That was Brandon Grimm.
It was indeed.
You got Adam Meredith there on the bridge of the Enterprise. And you got my wife behind me, which according to Wendell is makes me not a gentleman. So maybe next time I'll try to sit someplace else. Thanks so much for being
She's
here,
in the
everybody.
command chair.
She's apparently she's not sitting in the right chair. I wasn't sure what that was about. But anyway, you guys are great. We sure appreciate you. And join us again next time. Bye, everybody. See you later.